I swear I knew we were doing his ABCs earlier. Like that A, B, C, D.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K.
Daniel is a cunt!
Correct.
Yep.
He is one.
Fucking.
Smells like rope. You've just said Dan smells like rope.
Hello.
Hello. Come on.
Where is
Saying hello to the demons.
Where is baby mouse?
Dead. Emily decapitated it trying to fix cancer.
I'm trying to do it and everyone's being really loud. Where is baby
Omelets!
I know.
Scrambled egg. Fresh out the box.
She's in a bowl. She's in a bowl. She's in a bowl.
Yes, she
And
is.
she's in a bowl and then
Six or about
she was cooked and turned into a scrambled egg.
Damn it. And Sam was trying to.
Okay.
Next one.
Now Dan knows his
Oh, where's baby
ABCs.
Duckling?
Next time, won't he play with
Here she
me?
is.
Anyone wants a drink? Let's make them one.
Yes, I'll have a Dr. Pepper.
Me will.
My glasses here. Floyd.
No, I did ask your dad for one of his to read it.
Oh, did you?
Hey, so
Would
what
you
kind
get all my mics on? Everybody can absolutely hear every shouting you're doing down this
I
mic.
want some pop, please.
There is juice in the cupboard.
Next one.
And I'm
Right.
streaming, you noisy cunt.
Fuchs. Oh look, Fuchs has changed colour. 3 tickets. That's 3 tickets.
Bunny. Here he is.
Fuck's sake, Cloudin. Why'd you go faster, you cunt?
Are you?
May have given Clouden some tips on how to beat you.
There you are. In there, look.
Well, you gonna tell him to fucking hit me in the pits?
That was one tip. Yep. Zolder is upcoming, so I did give him that tip. I also said that just frustrate him, just niggle at him. He gets frustrated.
Nah.
He likes nice, clean driving. He doesn't admit it, and he cracks under the pressure when you just niggle at him. When you niggle at Dan, he gets frustrated, and that's the way you beat Dan.
No, it's not. You've still not beat me.
I mean, I did beat you.
Oh, do you know what your contact
When?
is, Dad?
When? I beat you in multiple seasons in GT3s, mate. The year I raced the Bentley and punted you in the rear at Zolder pit lane, I beat you. I came
you
second.
didn't.
I came second to De Silva that season, Mush.
Who would like to hear my
It was the season after you beat me.
ringtone?
Who's left?
Would you like to hear my
Who's left? What?
Someone's left because I was sick. I'm now fit.
Oh, I don't know them.
ringtone?
Irrelevant to
See,
me.
Ben.
They're behind me.
Dan and Clouden were in front of me. I don't know who the other one was.
They're irrelevant to me.
That's amazing to have a nice ringtone like that, Floyd, when your phone goes on silent and you don't answer it at the park, innit?
Yeah, it's amazing. So that was one of them that
You alright, babe? Right.
So's mine.
Yeah, well, stop shouting down her ear. She just said she's got a headache.
So's mine.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I chose. So like it changes between the two.
Did you bring your PlayStation?
And then,
Yeah.
Because we've got your HD cable there. For the telly that stays
and then
upstairs.
also,
already
I've
brought
got
the one.
I told... Oh,
She packed it.
does she not listen? One stays at yours, one travels with that telly. Wait, hang on. How many HD cables did she bring?
Two.
If she's brought one, then that one's for the telly downstairs that Floyd has. If she's brought two, then one can just stay in the case.
You can shut up, man.
I'm going to punch you in the dick several times.
Who?
Damn.
Can I join in with you?
That's a bit weird.
Can I join?
I don't feel very
You can tell it's getting a bit cloudier.
Why you got to do
Well,
it?
yeah, the weather's changed to 2 double thick clouds, and it's gone a bit dark.
Shut the fuck up,
Is
you
that the
knob.
right weather?
I loaded the race settings that you set.
No, I didn't set them. I set them for Pro-Am. I haven't told you I'd set him for pro. I told
You
you
have.
I'd set him for pro-am.
You have one job to set them so I can copy
No.
everything.
So we've got pro-ams. Our weather's meant to be hot.
Dude, make sure my flower stays alive.
Yeah, you've got pro-ams weather.
I blame Matt.
I'll blame Mike. Mike normally does it and tells me that it's done.
Mate, I always tell you, check, double check what's done. And I didn't tell you that was done.
Don't pin this one on me.
I was starting to feel good as well. Fucking hell, Matt.
Well, we can keep it if you want.
We can, or I can reset with 30 minutes to go. It's up to you.
Yeah, why not?
Has anyone complained about it
He's
yet?
not going to make it because of his internet. He's just texted me.
Who's that?
Joe.
Where did you put him on the grid?
What? I put him in his position. He's only just texted me saying that he's not going to make it.
Told you I put him at the back.
Clouden, evening, just a quick one. Do we have to make a pit stop? It's saying in the rules this week that we don't. Is that correct? What? What do you mean
What?
it is showing in the rules that you don't?
Is he reading the GT4 section?
Ah, fucking no. Why would the rules change of all of a sudden in a week? What's Clouden on about? He's DM'd me that as well. What? Adam Calp joined SimPlay Motorsport. Jeez.
What are you doing with the weather, Matt? Because we got half
I don't
hour.
know. What do you want me to do?
You set it.
GT4 event.
What do you reckon,
ACC
Dan?
Pro event. Mandatory pit stop. There is no mandatory pit stop. Drive. Mike, you've messed up on the event page.
I haven't messed up anything.
The
I
event
haven't
page
done
says
it.
there is no mandatory pit stop on the event bit
For what?
for Pro. Cloudden's just screenshotted it me. I'm checking now. So on the event where people confirm and decline, it states. That's stewarding. Whoops, wrong thing. Pro event. Yeah, it states mandatory pit stop information. There is no mandatory pit stop. Drivers may change tyres during their stop. Optional. Drivers may add fuel during their stop.
Why is it? That's GT. That's GT4 settings. Why is that changed?
Uh-oh!
You decide what you're doing with the server. I will rectify that.
That's alright, I'm just typing, I'm tagging everybody in it now. Ignore event page, pit stop as usual. Not sure why it has loaded GT4 GT4 text. Apologies for this confusion by Mike Matthews. I spelled confusion.
However, I've not put the server up.
What do you want me to do with the server? Do you want it just leaving, or do you want it warm?
Why?
It's not. Jump down.
Why?
Jump down.
You're not dead enough already, bro.
It only got reset last night.
How is that my fault?
Event. That.
Yeah, you killed it.
Weather.
You're already dead anyway.
26, 0.1501.
You're welcome.
26, it's 1 degree cooler. 0.15.
No.
Save.
Reset the server.
Event.
Who's this Will Friedman? He's from FRL, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Oops, it seems that I'm not in the entry list as it says server full.
You haven't done your hot stint, son.
He's
Save.
done it today. And it's
When did he do it?
literally now.
Oh, now. Do you want to tell him, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1840. The entry, for your chance to confirm or not, is gone. So it gives us half an hour to reset the server for 7:10. Some people can't get right.
Fuck's sake, Matt.
Not me, mate. I don't control the weather.
No one controls the fucking weather.
Yeah, it's all Matt's fault.
Shut the fuck up, Mazda.
It's run smoothly every week. This cunt's in the chat. It's all gone horribly wrong.
It's a good thing he's not fucking here when we did brands. He probably would have taken me out again.
Oh!
So, I take it you've loaded the weather.
I've changed it, mate.
So everyone's just set their tyres now, aren't they? For that fucking setting.
Yep.
I'm alright, doing anything different.
Do you know what we said? Do you know what we said? Cunt's fucking hit me! Of all people, Twitters, it's that knobhead! Monkey Boy's in the car. Monkey Boy's in the car. Dan's like, Matt, you on it? I went, don't worry, Dan. I'm already on the fucking replay. We're going to nail this bastard.
Give me a random team from the Euros.
Random team from the Euros?
That's not any that you like.
That's not. Well, Wales didn't qualify for the Euros,
Whatever,
dipshit.
sure, you know what I mean.
What? So I've got to give you a random team from the Euros, one that I didn't like. One that I didn't like. Who did I not like from the Euros? England.
England.
Couldn't stand England.
From England.
They were shit. Where's your Euros gone? Where's your Euros gone? Nowhere, because England's...
Will Friedman coming to race?
Yeah, an FRL boy. Watch out for him. Watch out for him.
Where's this fucking option?
Watch out for him. He's all right. He can be a bit of a nuisance. Oh, he's 44s, mate. You know, it's not fucking
amateurish, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, you're slower than that.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to Nash. It's nothing compared to Nash. One thing I will point out.
That's when you're in the Ferrari. Now you're in the fucking Lamborghini and you're dog shit. That
looks like it's another Porsche, though. That does. Oh, he's done that just in time as well. Next week's the last week we accept drivers. After that, we don't accept any.
I don't think we should accept him for next week.
Oh, shut up. Just because you can't win a fucking race because Willie Friedman's quicker than you. My God, grow up, child.
I'm not saying anything. Half the fucking grid's quicker than me.
Sorry, hang on a minute. Didn't I beat you and him in touring cars?
No, a different game, completely. R Factor 2's wank, garbage game.
It was fucking default setups as well, so there's no advantage.
R Factor 2
you was wank on that game.
R Factor 2 was dog shit. I did not rate it. Did not rate it.
Oh, fucking Matt. Now I've got to do a half-hour practice wasted. Fucking hell, Matt.
Is it? Or is track time? Shut fuck up.
Well, not when I've got my setup. I just needed tyre pressures down.
All you got to do is your fucking tyre pressures, then, innit, you mongo?
But you've got to do them first, you penis.
No, you ain't.
You have?
No, you
When
ain't.
you're setting up a car, the first thing you set is your tyre pressure.
No, you just tweak them as you go along.
And that's why you borrow everyone else's setups.
Don't borrow anybody else's setups. I get my setups like Dan does from Go Setups or Coach Dave, and I'd stick with it and job done. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, it's 10-2. We're going in a party, Dan.
Yeah, fuck off!
Get rid of this cunt.
I love you, really, mate. You
need to kick everyone out anyway. They're all in your comms party.
Yeah, to be fair, I need to kick you three out. Yeah, to be fair. Whoopsie.
Wait, what? Are we in the comms chat?
Yeah, we've been. Me and you's been in the comms chat all afternoon, and we didn't even realise till Mike joined.
And why are you in the comms chat?
Bye, you fucking mongo. See you later. Bye, Mike. Dipshit. Oh, he's gone.
No, it's Sato anyway.
Oh, just does now.
What a master. Did Master jump out? No, Master's.
You do what you want. You just mute your fucking headset for all I give a shit.
I tell you what, he could be pit lane commentator.
He's not even in lobby. You see that fucking Will Friedman PN while you've just jumped in?
Yeah.
Fucking, yeah.
At least he's okay with it. For some people.
Well, we FRL run a tight sort of. You've got to do this by set time sort of thing. It's where me and Dan's took a lot of stuff from. He can't really argue with it, can he?
No.
You know. Yes, please. No Fury, his Wi-Fi's died.
What, completely?
Pretty much. He's in that place at the minute, so his Wi-Fi has gone at the minute. So,
Well, I came on and my PlayStation said can't connect to it. Network. I was like, oh, please no. Yeah, I was online fine on the Xbox.
brilliant. Oh,
And I won't be on the interview as on the Xbox, would I?
14 fucking people. So if we take Joe out of that, how many are we expecting tonight?
Gary, still.
Hang on. So 18 minus Joe.
No, Dennis needs to put his car back to the colours he
Yeah,
was running. He can't.
Kreuzer as well, and someone else. The Fuchs guy. They've all changed their colours. And the event has started.
Has.
Who? I can't remember even what colour he was running.
Yeah, I think he was running. It was white and blue with blue stripes instead of blue with white stripes, but I can't remember because he hasn't raced.
He's not been here for a while, so that one. Yeah, I'll shun that one away. Dennis has completely changed to a different livery. Dennis, Fuchs, and Kreuzer will be given the option to choose the green one or the red one. They only joined last week. Yeah, so it'll either be last week's or this week's. Here's a lovey.
Well, Dennis was running an actual in-game one.
Yeah, Dennis will be told he's got to run that one again. See you later. Bye. Dennis will be told because he's done, 3 quarters season. He's got to run that one. Right, go live, and then I'm just going to run for a wee. I will be able to hear anything, so I'm going to keep my headset on. But obviously, I'm coming through my mic.
Go on, run to have a wee, and then you have a wee while you're running, and then it's just trickling down your leg. Alright, who's trying to do the ticket about that then? Because I get ignored. There's the live stream. Oh, fart. There we go. Oh, no, I want to chat on, you stupid fucking twat.
Katie! Katie!
Matthew!
Katie!
Matthew! Yeah, and as our admin, you might have to do that ticket on Dennis and that lot.
Yep, that's fine.
Because I'm not admin.
No, but you are a steward. You are able to pull it up. You are a steward. You are able to pull these things up. You have the same power in terms of a ticket as an admin does.
Don't even know who's fucking who's. I know Dennis is.
I'm happy to open it, dude. I'm happy to open it.
It needs pulling up because it's confusing for the commentary team. They change colours.
Confusion for the drivers as well.
Because a lot of time people see a green car and think it's me. Don't they? Yeah, Fuchs or Fox. For Cena, I'm happy he let slide because he hasn't been here for a few weeks. And he might have the same problem as Argent. Couldn't see his stuff on.
Where is everyone? I don't fucking know. Not in my way, luckily. So, you know, good points here tonight.
Dan's called me wank. I've just put, I can't be wank. I watch your streams.
I saw Mike crash in practice.
Yeah, so did I. So did I. Oh, PD, can you feel the strength? Do you reckon Hypertech learned his lesson last night, by the way?
I hope so, because he's annoying me as well. I am tired.
Oh, get this, get this. Have a guess who this is. I might want to be a part of the admin team.
GT4.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
I might. John.
Nope.
No, he still is, isn't he?
Still is, yeah. For now.
Kim.
Nope. He's getting quicker.
Dean Wasoki. No, he can fuck off.
I just replied with, I think you ought to show more commitment to the driving and things first before you put yourself forward for a before you put yourself forward for a role that could, you know.
I mean, I stepped down because of personal reasons, haven't I?
Yeah.
From the admin team. And I'm going to have a very long 6 months coming up after next week. Literally, I have to sit here probably on Thursdays with one of my cups off my headphones so I can hear when I get shouted at. To go, come on.
Who are we missing? Gary?
Galley.
Right. RB is in.
We've got RB.
Zodiac is Pacina, I do believe. He's in.
Yep.
Flo is, I believe, Kreuzer.
I think we've got Poiser.
Yeah. Gray.
Yeah.
Taker.
Has Taker come back? Taker's not come back.
Taker's not in. Dan.
Yes, we've got
Stein.
Stein, yep.
Insert.
Coin, yes.
Clouden.
Yep.
O'Reilly. He's Mustang, so no, because he's only one.
No.
Eckholt.
Eckholt,
yeah.
Yes.
Fuchs is Fuchs. Fuchs? Yeah.
Yeah.
King.
Yep.
Newman.
Yep.
And Mike.
And Mike.
Right.
Yep.
So
and
we're
Ben,
missing O'Reilly and Ben. Yeah, we're missing O'Reilly, Overtaker, and Gary.
Yeah.
And we will go live in just a moment.
Just commentated Mazda.
Ooh, shalala. Shocking from Pro this. Really shocking.
Well, as I said, when Pro-Am has a bigger grid than Pro. But we can't deny Max his chance of winning Pro-Am.
No.
By promoting them already, you fill up the grid on Pro. Smokey's declined because I reckon he's like a B in his box.
No, he'd confirmed, and then he said, "Why have I still got that race ban?" I said, "Because it carries throughout the week. We're looking at changing for next season." Like, oh, but I barely raced, and I just put back to him, the same as Mike had. And that's it. I don't back from him. Right. I'll open the ticket now quickly. In fact, no, I'll do it at the mid-session after they've done a race.
Yeah, because they're just locked into that,
yeah.
What they just chose. Because they've still got an option of back out.
Yeah, I mean they will have for race 2, but they're still getting a warning for at least running that race. Yeah. Newman will be told he's got to run that livery for the rest of the season. Between Kreuzer and Fuchs, they'll have to choose this week or last week's.
Yeah, Newman has to go back to the grey livery he was running before.
Oh, the blue, I think it was.
Well, it was a grey blue. It was a
bit of brown on it as well, wasn't it? Right, 5, 4. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport, back for another week of pro action. Bit of a disappointing short grid at the moment. Overtaker has just got back in the lobby. We are expecting Gary Leach and that of Kevin O'Reilly in as well. But it's going to be some fantastic action nonetheless around the brilliant Hungaroring that's provided us a great Formula 1 race, a great GT4 race, and a great Pro-Am race. If you're thinking Formula 1 at SimPlay Motorsport, I've missed that one. You didn't. I'm on about the real world Formula 1. It was a brilliant race for McLaren and a brilliant sort of day. All in all, if you are a fan of the orange or papaya coloured car. But we have 16 drivers in now because Gary Leach has now just got into the lobby with us. I'm your host once again, Matthew Duffin, joined in the box by Phil Radin, aka PN Motorsport. PN, good evening. Hungaroring, a oversized go-kart circuit as I like to refer to it as. Really only a couple of overtaking opportunities, but an enjoyable track that a few drivers seem to enjoy.
Yeah, 6 and 2/3s with this, whether I like it or not, but because I quite like fast-flowing circuits like Spa, Monza, Le Mans, places like that. Nürburgring.
Mr. Short Arms himself has just gone quickest in the practice, and by that I mean he's got himself a new simulator and had to struggle all day trying to build it, then realise that his arms aren't long enough to reach the steering wheel, so he's got himself a cushion, I believe, to sit on to prop himself up a little bit more. So the rest of this season could be referred to as Mr. Short Arms. He is your championship leader. Speaking of championship leader, we'll go through the current standings at the moment with 565 points still up to play for. A few more drivers now cannot win this championship. But Dan Davis has a 97-point lead over Jamal Clouden in this championship so far. Overtaker, who's just got back in the lobby, doesn't go out unless the track is at its optimum best, which for me, just lacks that little bit of practice that he could be getting in. He's currently P3. Harris not here this week. He's down in 4th place. Richard Beasley, which I suppose benefits Team SimPlay Racing. Richard Beasley is currently sat P5. Gary Leach, who's just got into the lobby, he is currently P6. No Sky Schundermeyer in 7th. Insert coin in his Honda is P8. Mike Matthews is P9 at the moment, and there is only half the grid who's done a lap time, or just over half who have done a lap time out there so far. Tobias Hoffer not here this week is P10. Michael Eckholt is then in P11 before Ian Gray rounding out the top 12. After that it is then Nikita from Ben from Dennis Newman, from Pacina, who is back this week in his Ford Mustang, not looking too bad at the moment. Then it is Gary Burton, Flem Speed 1, O'Reilly, Saber, Kyle. Fuchs is with us after his race win last week. Fuchs is with us. Where is he? Out there at the moment. There he is. Fuchs is with us as well. No Ramey, no Mitrovicanen. He's had a wheelbase problem. He might not be with us for the remainder of the season while he sorts that one out. Joseph Bates, internet connection problems. King is with us. Clarbel, Stein, Kreuzer, Simon, Sullivan, Zandbrager, and Joseph. Now, one thing we have to alert is you guys in that chat and in that channel would have noticed that we had 2 McDonald's livery cars, as PN referred to them last week, of Fuchs and of that of Kreuzer. They've changed their colours. So has Dennis Newman. Now, obviously, this will be looked at by the admin team. Obviously, liveries aren't allowed to be changed colour-wise due to commentator usages and driver usages out there on the circuit to make sure that the drivers can look at a car and know roughly who that is or who it's going to be. But either way, that is one to keep our eyes on throughout the night. But PN, 10 out of the 16 drivers so far have done a lap time. Gary's obviously not long got in. He's got a chance to go around there. It's going to be an interesting one.
It is, and well, with so few cars this week, again in Pro, compared with Pro-Am last night, even the GT4s, there was more cars than this. Okay, a lot of them were off in turn 1 and race 2, but the track ain't going to rubber in as quick, so it won't go to that optimum. Yeah,
it is going to take its time. SimPlay Racing have a 50-point lead over Team FBR with Quantum Apex Motorsport P3. Greasy Bandits Racing a P4 from Jaeger Motorsport P5. GK Racing in 6th place from Effect Motorsport. Then it's BSP Racing, the first of the independent teams, with FSO Racing Team P9. P10 for Effect Motorsport 2. Smoky Racing Independent P12 and Vorta Racing P13 Independents. Now Smoky will serve his last suspension tonight. We also have Dennis Newman going from the back of the grid in race 1 and has a qualifying ban later on as well. That is due to a double retirement in last week's GT4s. A few bans coming up for next week, but hopefully this should be the end, I believe, of Smokey and Dennis's bans here. In terms of the most successful around this circuit, well, Unorthodox, joined by Tim Vintic now with 2 poles and 2 wins for himself, but Dan, 1 pole, 3 wins around this track. Overtaker's got 2 wins. And if you ask me, the McLaren, I think, looks a better car over the Lamborghini, Pierre.
Yeah, well, and the Ferrari's looking quite handy as well, to be honest. And, well, with Tim winning with it yesterday and Pro-Am as well. And Max and McLaren. But, yeah. So, it definitely favours the mid-engine car around here.
It does seem to at the moment. And that's the way it looked like on the Bop. That is. Again, we speak about it every week. He's probably coming in for next season. A few little milestones tonight. The BMW will not get its 50th win, but Overtaker can get that 25th pole position. Feels like we're waiting for Overtaker as long as we waited for Gary to get that. Ferrari did get its 25th race win last night, and Ford will. Let me just double check this. No, Ford will not. So it could have got its 50th race start, but it will not. That will now go to next week. Ford 50 race starts in a season. That is fantastic for the Ford. So far, at the minute, we're currently watching Mike Matthews out there, 7/10 off the pole lap at the minute is Mike Matthews. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what he can do. And he can spin it into the wall and ruin a set of tyres. That's what Mike Matthews can do right there. Steiner stopped at the end of the pit lane.
Just done that.
Here is Pacina then, in his Ford Mustang. Now, we saw Kieran Argent last night, PN, look very quick in the straights, as we know the Ford Mustang can be. It's a very powerful car. It can, use a lot of that horsepower down the start line. Difficult in that middle sector where the twisty section comes.
Yeah, well, it's an American muscle car, isn't it, at the end of the day? They like straight lines. I know it's a bit of a normal stereotype with muscle cars, but it seems to be the case with a Mustang.
It does seem to be. Kieran was saying in the week, wasn't he, that and he said it a few tracks, it's just struggling to get that rotation left to right and that change of direction. Unlike the bigger cars like the Mercedes, the BMW, the Bentley, which has a decent change of direction, the Ford just lacking in that area a little bit.
Well, you also think in the real world, the Mustang hasn't had the development time compared with the Merc, the Aston, the Bentley. It just hasn't had it yet, because new this year, wasn't it, for racing? And the Corvette was last year, but that's mid-engine now. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we are awaiting then for Pacina. For Kevin O'Reilly. He's the last one to get into the lobby. Obviously, we head next week back into Europe to finish we head next week stateside for the final time before we go back to Europe. It's Watkins Glen next week. Looking forward to going to the Glen, and it's going to be a fantastic race around there. But the Hungaro Ring is going to be a twisty circuit. It looks pretty much a clear day as well, so these boys in for some hot conditions. Track temp already at 36 degrees, so it looks like it's going to be a warm one for these drivers. It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. Ben just off the back of Dan. Is that showing McLaren's dominance, considering that we haven't seen King, we haven't seen Clouden, we haven't seen Eccles, and we haven't seen Overtaker?
Well, Clouden was in low 44s before the server reset, so Cloudon's definitely got the pace. What I've seen,
Yeah.
and of course, we can never count out Overtaker.
Can never count out Overtaker. And Eckel has looked really quick as well in the week since he's joined.
Yeah, and, well, wildcard have been coined in the Honda.
Honda not a favoured car around here. That's the problem with the Honda. But Ben had Dan's number at Thruxton. So could Ben upset the apple cart?
Yeah, well, not a favoured car around here. Louis Allen had another way of saying that, didn't he?
That was PS4 though, wasn't it? So that was old. You know, obviously the Honda now more outdated on this PS5 version of the game. With the newer cars, as Pacina just loses the rear a little bit there. Fuchs is in the pits as is Gray. Here's Gary Leach, solo Jaeger Motorsport driver, obviously due to myself obviously pulling out of the championship this season. Going to be an interesting one for Gary. I was actually looking at Gary's numbers the other day as a driver. He's 9 appearances away from that 350 mark, becoming the second driver to ever get to 350 race starts at SimPlay Motorsport. Last pole position was the Ginetta at Kyle Army a few seasons ago back on the PS4. Last race win, I can't honestly remember when, but he's just behind Overtaker by 1. So, Gary, you know, looking not bad. 7 podiums off of that 100 mark as well. He's 10 clear of Big Boy Brazier, who we don't see anymore. He's 11 clear of Overtaker, who Overtaker will possibly claw that over Gary. But Gary and the Porsche, obviously another car PM that seems to be heavily favoured by the BOP when it will come in. If Gary sticks with his car next season, that could be an interesting choice to see what Gary Leach can do.
What do you mean with? Of course Gary's got to stick with a 992. That's the car he's most comfortable in. Yeah, he wasn't really a fan of the M4 in the endurance race on...
Oh, no, he was. No, he was. He enjoyed the M4. He was... I think because he got the chance to just... Obviously, Gary has that lack of testing, and because he just managed to get, you know, hours of driving and under it, by the end of the night, he actually enjoyed the car. So it's going to be interesting to see if Gary stays with it. You just hear him on and off the throttle through the final corner. And of course, Gary's a multiple champion here at SimPlay Motorsport. If anybody can improve and find the tweaks, it's this man. Look, 1.2 off the pace. And the Porsche looked nimble in Justin Winter's hand last night, didn't it, through that middle sector?
Yeah, it did. Well, again, the Porsches were probably balanced, because this version of it, the engine's actually in front of the rear axle, not behind it like it used to be in 911s. As Mazda, who is actually on mute in the party with us, just said M4 all the way.
It's nice to Adam Cowper, a returning face there. Used to drive with us multiple times. If he could, if there was a man who could have a car for each track, it would be him. Good evening to the Tank and NRT Gomez, Ian Gray as well as NRT Sammy in the chat, and Jesper Lind Mickelson. Let's go, Michael Eckholt, he says in the chat. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when we go live, as well as hit that thumbs up button if you want to join SimPlay Motorsport, as Gary has a moment exactly where Mike had a moment, and we do now have Overtaker out there on the circuit. If you want to be a part of SimPlay Motorsport, make sure you go into the onto the profile and click on the Discord icon. Follow us through there and get involved with anything and everything SimPlay Motorsporters. We hit that 700 subscriber mark a few weeks ago, PN, and we are nearly at 750. So you guys who are watching, absolutely legends, and you do the business for us week in, week out. I also saw on one of the groups, PN, that I share the stream on Facebook, Skov. Now I don't know who Skov is, but I assume it's one of our Danish compatriots. There we go then. Actually, he's already sharing the stream round in one of the groups on Facebook, so he's already doing the rounds as well. We're up to 724 subscribers, so nearly at that 750 mark, and it's all thanks to you guys as well. It's been an absolute fantastic, just fantastic season, really, with what you guys at home do. Without you guys, we won't be able to do this, and that is as clear as day. But what we've got, 24 seconds left, PN. No Fury, no O'Reilly, so hopefully the grid doesn't glitch out too major. And this could be an interesting one, see what happens here.
Do you know another thing we really need to plug? Our Patreon.
We do. If you do want to become a Patreon member, I need to get a link in that description. I'll make sure we get a link sorted. If you do want to become a Patreon member, head over to the Discord. The Patreon is on there, and just you can just contribute. And there is also a donate button, I do believe, on the stream that if you fancy donating to the channel, everything is much appreciated. So yeah, get yourself involved. But practice coming to an end. Overtaker's going to get 1 lap in. Dan will finish a current lap, so we'll watch Dan then go on board with Overtaker. And I'm just going to look at the analytics from the 18th of June, which was the first race of the Endurance Series. After that, when did we start the season? Oh, no, sorry. Oh, the 18th of May, sorry, 18th of May.
18th of
As
May.
Dan doesn't improve, so we're just going to wait for Overtaker to finish. So if we go then to the 18th of May, this is how good a job you guys have done. From the 18th of May to yesterday, 68 subscribers in that period, which is, I can't remember how many days that is between them. It did tell me the other day. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. 68 subscribers in just over 2 months. So yeah, probably about 60 odd days as well. So that is absolutely fantastic from you guys. Keep it coming. And as always, don't forget to share the stream around, get your family and friends all involved. Just reading the chat there. Adam Kaup, carbon copy of Mike Spin. He loves to copy me. Yeah. Paul Williams in the chat. Good evening, Jen. It's going to be a good one tonight. Subbing at that like button, everybody. Indeed so. As well as, if you fancy racing at FBR, make sure you go over to their Discord. We'll put a link into our Discord for this week. They've got a British GT series in which we need some SimPlay representatives to go out there. SimPlay took the race win last time, so we did the FBR SimPlay battle and FBR dominated. SimPlay managed to win out there in the hands of myself last week, so let's see what we can do. Green Wolfinator in the chat. Evening to you, buddy. Let's go, Stein, he says. And the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, Skov, Denmark, he says. RB shows real potential tonight. Been through a tough one. It has been a very tough one, PM. Let's touch on what Paul Williams says. RB has had not the rub of the green.
No, he's had a few rubs with a lot of cars.
Not his fault as well.
One. No, that's just how close racing it is in both war categories. Yeah, Overtaker went to P4. In fact,
there we go. That's our Overtaker up to P4, and he's going to be wanting to pick up some points tonight. Good evening to Chris in the chat, Ben's dad as well as always. There is obviously a gap on the grid. You see around Fuchs here. I believe that is just in front of Ben. That's where Fury would have been. So that is the gap of Fury. There will be another gap on the grid as well for O'Reilly.
10 seconds.
It'll be closed up.
Paul, if you want to, put a post on our general chat for people to go over to on Sunday evening. 6 PM UK time. Ben has joined Sky at BSP Racing. Oh, I've not been told this information. Interesting.
No.
That might be one for next season to watch out for them.
Yeah.
BSP trying to poach a few drivers, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I'm afraid I'm unapproachable. Unless you drive Ferraris. And they're green.
Oh, apparently Chris is saying he is the new team member. Well, I'll have to keep my eyes out on Instagram. Nothing mentioned in the Discord as of yet, so that might be something for next season to team up together. But Ben, a part of the BSP team. Not a bad signing for the BSP team. Obviously, Tim, Max and Sky. Quite a good signing.
Oh, that's 2 and pro. I'm 2 and pro, but looking next season.
Looking next season, that all 4 of them will be in pro. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be an interesting one. Right, the grid order for today's Cruiser from Kevin Stein, Travis King from Mark Fuchs, Pacina from Ben, Ian Gray from Eckholt, Mike Matthews from Insert Coin, Gary Leach from Richard Beasley, Overtaker from Clouden, Dennis Newman is ahead of Dan Davis, and I don't know if that is Dan letting Dennis go, but Dennis should be behind Dan, so that has probably glitched out because of the fact that 2 drivers haven't been with us. Good evening to the Cranky Duckhead.
And Hypertech. Like BSP and snoring emojis. Yeah. It's flawless game, isn't it? Even when you set the grid. This is why we have to have people confirm by 6:40 PM UK time.
So Dennis Newman, whose ban was to put him to the back of the grid, obviously hasn't been. I think he will go alongside Dan due to it being an even number. So he will be starting at the back. It just obviously affects the side of which Dan will be on that grid. Good evening to Hypertech. Funds will be running out if they're not careful, says Paul Williams. They've got to hope for a good return. Obviously, Ben will be running as that independent for the rest of the season. Only 4 weeks to go after this. We've got Watkins, Glen, Zolders and Vorton Valencia. And obviously just make sure that Ben doesn't change his livery colours, because that's a no-no when you've raced majority of the season. For for the commentators' purposes, for the audience's purposes, and for the drivers on track's purposes. Obviously 3 drivers tonight have changed liveries, and that'll be going to the stewards' room soon as we're about to start the race. Good evening to DJ Phil in the chat as well. But PN, who's your money on?
Oh, either Stein or Cruzier, because they've got a clear road ahead and they're not exactly that far off a pace, and Lambo is good here, so is the Ferrari. And actually, King in the McLaren, Ben, who knows? Find out in 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, find out in 20 minutes' time. Fuchs obviously took a race win last time out, so will he be able to add that in the 20-minute race? As the poll goes up, we are green and go though for the 15th round of the season, and this is absolutely incredible start at the minute, because it's a great start from the Ferrari on the outside from Kevin Stein as they head down towards turn 1. That is Cruiser into the middle of the road. Who's that looking up the inside? It is the Vorta racing car then of King, who's come up the inside in towards P3, and Gary's had a moment. PM, what happened?
It looked like he got tapped from the rear and it pushed him into another car. He's now alongside Ben into turn 2. I don't think these corners have names. The person I know would be Benny Varg.
So Ben down into turn 2, and he's bounced off the curb and hard into the wall for Ben, and that is a shame for him. He had great pace in the practice, but he's made that mistake. That is huge damage, and that is going to ruin his race. But at the minute, it's Cruiser who leads out from then Travis King. Kevin Stein's in P3 from Richard Beasley. Michael Echo has lost out to Gary Leach. Gary Leach got a bit of damage on the side and rear of his car. Dennis Newman's already up to P7. He's trying to make moves on Michael Echo. Jamal Clouden just behind him. Pacina going side by side with Dan Davis and just squeezing Dan Davis every inch he can try and get. And Pacina now, did Dan just tap the back of Pacina there? Dan's now still got the inside line over Ian Gray, and that Mustang being a big nuisance at the minute for unorthodox. So Dan Davis now looking to the outside, going to try and set himself up for the inside line on the next part, and Dan does an absolute treat, but Pacina still side by side with Dan. Dan now runs him out of a little bit of road, and a bit of argy-bargy squabbling going on here. Pacina's now got Overtaker looking up the inside, and Overtaker, can he get it done? He's alongside enough. He's going to have the outside line though for the next part of the circuit, and around the outside he trundles and should get the move done now. And Overtaker, good bit of drive in that, but at the front of the pack it's already Cruzy who's got a second lead. PM.
Well, it was a bit of a hectic first lap, wasn't it, chat? So Phil thinks this is going to be Dan Davis with a win, but Beasley's already on the back of King, so Beasley needs this right now to get maximum points for Team FBR as he can, because he's the only one here this week. And Ben's in the pits already, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Ben's in the pits. He only needed to go 15 more seconds and then the pit window would have been open. So that's his race pretty much over. And Ian Gray got up the inside there of Mark Fuchs, who's going to try and come back around the outside. Mike Matthews down behind insert coin. It's Richard Beasley who's got the fastest lap and now has got ahead of Travis King. So he's on his way towards the front. He's due a bit of good fortune. Gary's still got Eckholt on the back of him, with Dennis Newman trying to come along. Clouden's not close enough to Newman, and Dan Davis trying to get on the back of Clouden at the moment. And Overtaker's going to be on the rear of Dan Davis as well, as Stein now gets in front of Cruzier. Not sure where he's done that. Pien, just fill us in.
I think he's done it into turn 5 into the right-hander before the chicane. So, and I'll tell you what, Cruiser just disappeared off the screen then, so there's a bit of latency going on here again.
Well, Richard Beasley's got a good run, and Gary Leach round the outside of Travis King in the middle sector. Gary Leach making moves of the two-time champ. We used to see him put on a good show like this back in the Project Cars 2 days. He's absolutely up for it tonight, it seems. Gary Leach moves up to P4. Eckholt's on the back of him. Then it's Newman, Clouden, Dan and Overtaker. A bit of a train forming now behind that of Dennis Newman, who is heavily defending from Jamal Clouden And then Dan Davis on the back of these. Overtaker not quite there at the moment, and is still not able to get away. Get on the back of Dan so far. Taker choosing that undercut. I think that's the great strategy. Now, Mike Matthews was giving it large in the practice session. He overcut Ian Gray. I think the undercut is the best strategy around this circuit. As Jamal Clouden now looking up the inside of Dennis Newman. Down towards turn 1 they come. Dan Davis a little further back, sticking to the outside line, and they come through turn 1. You see Dan now just join in the background, and Jamal Clouden up the inside. That is job done. Now Dan Davis is trying to attack with the fastest lap up the inside of Dennis Newman. Newman tries to close the door on Dan, nearly runs into the back of Clouden. A flash of the lights there from Dan Davis. Late on the brakes, Dennis Newman. Dennis still going to try and fight this up the inside. He does. Dan has a bit of a wiggle and a slide, and Dennis Newman just becoming a bit of a nuisance to Dan Davis. And is he allowing Dan Davis to go, or did Dan get the run on him up towards turn 4?
I'll tell you what, coming out of turn 4, you have got to watch track limits here.
You have indeed. Overtaker, PN, has jumped Cruiser in the pits. So has Michael Eckholt. So did Cruiser have a bit of damage he repaired there? He's been jumped in the pits by Eckholt and by Overtaker. Fuchs also on his way out. Ben's coming round. He's not far off the pack, but he's obviously got to pit again. And it's Jamal Clouden now who's got to get past King. In fact, he's already got past King. So now what will King do in that defence over Dan Davis at the moment in this race? He's already got Dan Davis right up the rear wing of him, but Dennis Newman not a million miles away behind Dan.
If I was Dan, I'll pit now because cover Overtaker. Because he's going to be losing time.
You can't cover Overtaker. Yeah, the problem is I think Overtaker's going to undercut you. The undercut is strong here. Dan's got to go long to overcut Undertaker now. I don't think the undercut's going to work for Dan on this lap. Can't really come into the pits because he's got alongside Travis King a little bit there, and King was a little wide through the first part of the lap. Dennis Newman trying to get on to the rear of Dan Davis once again, and here comes King as Pacina comes into the pits, as does Gary Leach. Dan Davis gets a great run out the final corner, and down the inside he's going to look then over Travis King at the moment. Dan on the inside line of the McLaren, and he's going to be up the inside in towards turn 1. King tries to outbrake him, can't do it around there though, and King has to slot in now under a bit of pressure from Dennis Newman behind, but nothing comes of that. Mike Matthews, Pacina and Gary Leach into the pits, and this is where you're going to see, look, here comes Eckholt and Overtaker already down towards that final sector. They start, and this is where they're going to be able to have a good run. Go Dan Davis for the win, says DJ Phil, and let's go Greasy Bandit. And Vorta Racing says Hypertech in the chat, and Richard Beasley, fastest lap of the race for him. He's on the back now of Kevin Stein.
Gary's pit stop's done. Eckholt's now coming out the final corner. Gary's not repaired any damage he's got from whatever happened. I think Eckholt's got him. Yeah.
Did Pacina pit?
Yeah, Pacina's pit.
Well,
he's
not completed it. Yeah, so he's got to re-pit. Eckholt and Overtaker jump Gary in the pits then. Undercut works. You've got to go long if the overcut's going to work, and for Dan Davis he's got to go a very long time to make sure that happens. Richard Beasley then currently having a great first race here. He's on the back of Kevin Stein. Stein just taking an interesting line there. Obviously Stein races in the Endurance Championship here at SimPlay Motorsport as part of JWB Esports Racing, but Richard Beasley now on the back of Kevin Stein coming through the final corner, the Team FBR driver. Obviously Michael Harris will gain 40 points, I believe it was. Gains 46 points due to his drop score, so points already for Team FBR. And Richard Beasley on the back. Yeah, Dan got in front of King a little earlier, and King's got Dennis Newman on the back of him. Insert Coyne into the pits. He's had a reaction to Mike Matthews. We'll wait and see, but already I think the damage is done, and I think that Eckholt and Overtaker could be having a fight for that podium place. Kreuzer, oh, he's off! Just as we go on board with Mike Matthews being close, Kreuzer bounces off the wall. And Mike Matthews, who's got Fuchs behind him, was Mike involved in any contact? I'm not sure. We just saw Kreuzer off. I think Kreuzer's lost it on his own. But that'll be an interesting one to see back. And look at Richard Beasley now within 3.5 tenths.
Yeah. Beasley's hungry. He's alongside.
Yeah, he's up the inside. I don't think he's quite far enough alongside. Stein hit the grass. Beasley breaks a little early, tucks it back through the corner. Dennis Newman as well, trying to get on the rear of King. Clouden being able to gap. Eckholt's just pumped in the fastest lap of the race, so proving his dominance at the minute.
We've got our own Dane train here.
Dane train?
The Dane train, that's what we call nicotine and
okay. Thank you.
in Aston Martin.
Thank you very much for filling that one out. I didn't know if you was going to give me a train fact there, Pian, but if it's to do with racing, I'll let you off. Yeah, no, fair play.
It was to do with racing because
Fair
it's
play.
to do with a GT3 driver I've actually met.
Oh, fair enough. There's Richard Beasley still on the back of Stein. Can't get close enough at the moment. There you go. Look, Overtaker and Eccles both jump insert coin. Where did insert coin come out ahead? No, came out behind Mike Matthews because the undercut is strong at this circuit. Dennis Newman and Ian Gray are now in. I think that's a good strategy to possibly jump Travis King then. I think the only two that's kind of not under any pressure by the undercut is Beasley and Stein at the moment, depending on Stein's lap time over Beasley and over Overtaker and Eccles.
Yeah, Clouden has been closing.
Yeah,
well.
gradually. Mike's just off the track there. Track limits are going to be a horrible one today to keep your eyes on. Ben's obviously a lap down at the moment, but Eccles, fastest lap of the race. Fuchs trying to get on the back of Mike Matthews. Mike obviously raced in the Ferrari last year. He's in the Lamborghini this year. And where is Clouden? His time didn't pop up there. And Clouden's gapping Dan as well. And Clouden at the minute doing everything he needs to do, but yeah, going to be an interesting one to see what you could do around here. There's Beasley getting very close to the back of Stein, coming in towards the chicane of 6 and 7, through now the left-hander of turn 8, in towards turn 9. Newman and Gray are done. Pacina's obviously got to repit. That's going to ruin his race. Halfway through this 20-minute race, though, PN.
Yeah,
and you have to say... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's been a bit action-packed. Now, if I was Beasley, he's clearly got pace over Stein at the moment. He can't get past.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not looked for the undercut before now. Beasley still on the back of Stein. There's Dan and Clouden you see in the background of Richard Beasley. And are we going to see these two tuck into the pit lane? No, they're going to carry out on their way. Clouden could have a real chance. And Jamal is pulling that string. Dan Davis is going to stay out. I don't think that's going to work for Dan Davis the way he's thinking it's going to work, because the pit window closes in 6.5 minutes. Dennis Newman got jumped by Mike Matthews because Mike undercut him. There's a common theme developing here. And Dan, whose strategy normally plays out absolute perfection, I don't think he's going to. Is Dennis Newman a little wobbly into the chicane and lets Fuchs go?
Yeah, Overtaker now with the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what lap times.
I believe you can press timetable and click on their names and get it done that way. Now, you look at where Dan Davis is. He's just gone through turn 2. Overtaker's coming into the final corner. Now, let me load up my little graphic that I have. I've just got to find the person on Discord who sent it me. And it will tell you in and out time. Sorry, PN, 1 second. And at Hungaroring, you lose. So, time loss with tyre change around the Hungaroring is 59 seconds. So, because you don't have to change tyres, 55 seconds, because it's 5 seconds less pit stop. We have a mandatory 25-second pit stop. So you lose 55 seconds. Eccles just gone through turn 1. Dan Davis is up in the middle sector. You lose 57, so maybe 56, 55, 54% of the lap. Dan is not over half a lap in front of Thingy. I don't think neither is Stein and Beasley. So Eccles and Taker are possibly going to be 1-2 after the round of pit stops, unless they start fighting.
Yeah, Overtakers did a 43.8.
Yeah.
So, and Beasley's doing 45s.
And just to point out as well, Overtaker and Eccles have jumped Clouden. Clouden was in front of Dan, and they've jumped Clouden by 5 seconds. Clouden was 3 seconds behind Beasley and Stein. Beasley's now in. Travis King is now in. So the Michael Eccles Overtaker is going to work. They are going to get a first and second out of this race because the undercut is stronger.
Yeah, well, might not be.
The thing is Mike was like in the practice session really sort of hyped about he jumped a thingy, and he said to Dan before going on air, going long might be the strategy. It's always better at Hungaroring to undercut. That's just common knowledge. I am very shocked at Dan's strategy, who normally bangs on the strategy. Dan mid-pack, like when the pit window opened, I'm surprised we just didn't see him straight into the pit lane. We've got Jamal Clouden with Gary Leach on the back of him. That's 0.8 of a second separating that one. Richard Beasley's out the pits, look. And look who's coming down the start straight. There goes Eckholt, there goes Overtaker. Beasley, nets third place at the moment, depending on what Stein does, but Beasley's undercut him, so I feel that Beasley will come out P3.
Yeah, it's over. Overtaker with and Eckholt with the master strategy this time.
Yeah, really is. Really a good strategy from them. Clouden to Beasley is what? We'll see through Sector 1 what that gap is. Clouden has just started to pull away from Gary a little bit. I think we've got Mike Matthews actually gaining on Gary Leach slightly here. So there's Eckholt, there's Overtaker, there's Beasley. 1.9 behind Taker. Where is Clouden? That gap, 4.6. Yeah, so Beasley's gapped Clouden a little bit at this moment.
Stein's now in. Dan
and Dan
out.
leads this race. Dan Davis is going to lead this race. He's won here in the Retia, so he knows how to win at the Hungaroring. He's obviously got 3 race wins to his name. I don't think Dan has played this strategy right. King's got Dennis Newman on the back of him. The bonus for Dan this tonight, PN, he has points in advantage over his championship rivals.
Yeah. Well, he can afford to lose points now. Because
Well, Dan's drop score is 80, so you know he has that gap.
Keep an eye on. Right, yeah, Stein's going to lose the lead. So.
Yeah, Eckholt's coming through the final corner as his Overtaker. Where's Beasley gone? Beasley's dropped to 9th. Well,
Beasley had a spin.
I think Beasley's had a moment. Clouden's now up into a net 3rd place. Look, Stein's only just gone green. Bonus for Stein, he's at the bottom end of the pit lane. Here comes Jamal Clouden. There is Stein. The camera pans out. Stein gets in front, or stays in front, should I say, of Jamal Clouden.
But jumped over Eckholt.
Jumped by the other two. So meaning that where is Dan going to feed out? Probably around Stein and Clouden.
Yeah.
What's Dan Davis lapping at the moment? In fact, I have his stream open on my phone, so Dan's best lap is a 45.0. His last lap was a 45.9. Dan cannot do one more lap. He's got to pit now because the pit window will close otherwise. And Dan is going to come in right at the last second. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to see.
Overtaker's still the fastest man on track. But, fair way, actually, just looking at that time.
Oh, Beasley looking very loose on the rear of the car there. Undercut is as big here as anywhere. I think if I didn't pit when I did last night, it would have cost me 2 positions. Holy mother, I thought I was seeing double jag thumb in the thumbnail, says Benedict Varga in the chat. Nope, you're not seeing double. As Dennis Newman still on the... In fact, no, Dennis Newman now's got ahead of Travis King. Pacina is side by side with Cruiser then. And the chat went the way of Stein for the race win. Well, I don't think Stein's going to win this one because Eckholt and Overtaker have done that one. Dan's still yet to go green, look, and who's coming around the final corner? Here comes Eckholt, here comes Taker, Stein as well. Clouden's now coming into it. Dan Davis still stationary. There goes Eckholt, there goes Overtaker. Dan now goes green, still halfway down the pit lane. Stein gets past Dan. Clouden will clear Dan Davis as well, and Dan Davis off the limiter now. Nearly been done by, in fact, who is that? That is Gary 1-3. That is Gary Leach. Look, and the undercut, bar Gary running deep there has allowed Dan to get back through. Gary Leach, all he had to do there was just get it on the apex, get it turned in, and he'd have done it. He doesn't. He's going to look up the inside though with Dan Davis. Dan's going to have to leave him that room. Manages to just get it tucked in. Understeered a little wide there mid-corner, did Dan. Gary, though, on the outside line now for turn 3. Going to have to look to tuck it up the inside. Dan bounces off the curb a little bit. That gave Gary a run, but Gary was very close. Lucky not to tap the rear of Dan round there, did Gary Leach. And now, look, it's Dan Davis from Gary, from Mike Matthews. Gary now bouncing all over the curbs, runs over the track limits a little bit. Cruises back into the pits. And yeah, Dan then down to P5, losing out to Jamal Clouden. Buddy can afford them points. Drive through penalty car 13. Dennis Newman for track limits. And now we've got a race on for that lead. But we're going to stick with this Dan Davis, Gary Leach battle because we've got Mike Matthews. These three will all be in a party with each other as well. And it's Gary Leach who's going to try and make some moves here.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on Eckholt and Taker because they've been quite tense. for the race lead.
I think Dan's tyres have now come to him. That'll probably be a track limit warning for Dan Davis there. Really ran out wide over the curb, and Dan able to pull away. Mike having a look on Gary, a little too far back to let that one do anything. But here comes here comes Mike Matthews, still looking on the back of Gary Leach. Leader starts the final lap. Taker versus Echo, 1 lap left, and Taker fastest lap. Dan is 5 seconds behind Clouden. That's going to take some catching. Clouden might be able to stay ahead. Clouden 1.8 clear. Just going to look at Dennis Newman and Travis King, but Dennis Newman's going to have to come in for that drive-through, so that'll give Gray, insert coin, Pacina possibly an extra place, and Ben might be able to get ahead of Kreuzer here, depending on what happens. Eckholt and Taker, though. Taker doesn't want to do anything stupid. He's got second place points over Dan Davis in this championship battle.
Yeah, he's a little bit pushing the track limit still. That's the last thing you want on the last lap, isn't it? Well,
Isn't
it's
it
happened
just,
before.
yeah.
Especially coming out of turn 4. It's so easy, even I got track limit warning.
Turn 4 and towards the back end of the circuit as well. Very easy. Sorry, I pressed Dan Davis. Went to press Gary Leach and Mike Matthews. They're still within half a second, as are the two race leaders. Oh, Gary's very wide. Drive-through cleared for Dennis Newman. Taker misses. Taker's just got to bring this home. He doesn't need to push to get past Eckholt. He's scoring big points in this race over his two rivals, Clouden and Davis. So at the minute, doesn't need to push too much. There's another part of the track you can get track limits. And Taker, you're not a race driver if you don't want to win the race. You're obviously going to keep looking till the very end. But Eckholt, just runs a little wide, has a wiggle. Taker looks a little enthusiastic now to look up the inside. Just notice that Eckholt has a bit of front end damage on this right hand side, just on the splitter. Looks like he scraped something. But Eckholt rounds the final corner, and it's going to be another race win this season for him. He's been the man on form so far in this back off the season. He wins the race from Overtaker in P2. Overtaker taking the fastest lap. Stein just getting there over that of Jamal Clouden, who finishes P4. Dan Davis will come home for that P5. Going long did not work for him. And Gary Leach just managing to hang on in there over Mike Matthews for P7. Then it is Mark Fuchs for P8. Richard Beasley, what happened to him? He could have possibly been in that top 5 shout as well. Travis King looks like he's going to come home for that P6 in this one. Ahead of Ian Gray with insert coin coming across the line. Bit of a gap now back to Pacina in this battle. Going to be an interesting one to see what happens down this order. So Overtaker second with that fastest lap of the race. Extra point to his name. Obviously Beasley not having a great race with his teammate not being here. He wanted to score big. Not the case. Pacina will cross the line P13. Dennis Newman will cross the line P14. And Ben did finish ahead of Kreuzer, who parked it in the pit lane 2 laps from the end. So he did get 75% race distance. But Dennis Newman P14. We though will be right back after a very short break. I think Dan got that fucking horribly wrong. So if he's listened to Mike to go long, what a shit strategy.
Yeah, I think Mike did it on purpose. Done the ticket for deliveries.
Have you? Thank you.
No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm just sorting
Because
the results
I
out.
reckon they'll ignore me.
I don't care. Just get it done. Just get it done, dude. What was Clouden's gap to Dan? before.
Green light. Go, go, go.
So hungry.
Nice.
Just Newman.
Done a lot of damage, to be fair, mate.
Taker's now third, 108 points behind Dan.
Sure, I'll just put livery change without contacting admins.
Yeah? Yeah. Right, I'm gonna run to the toilet.
Hate you, Gary. Fucking hate everyone, I think, doesn't he? He just apologised in the Discord to you. Well, I don't know, he just come off and bullet the charge. Trust him.
Oh, hell. Who's fruits? People didn't type in the event.
Neil, outside is the balls. Now!
I mean, like I said about the first one, I think it was Max who caused the contact.
Outside with the ball. And be quiet. Shut that back door.
Initially.
No, not that one, the other one. Not that one.
Because Gary doesn't actually touch Croupiers, and Croupiers doesn't touch Gary until the contact with Max. So Gary, I mean, it's one of those situations. You know, if Gary,
It's harsh to hammer anyone for.
Close the other one and took
yeah,
Who?
well, Max came across.
So,
Flo, yeah.
the other one who's changed the
Gary doesn't know there's a car on the inside, and Croupiers is
flow away and took. What do I say? Dennis, you need to go back to the grey livery. Whatever livery it was.
When this gives us explanation, we'll tell them what we've got to do.
yeah, which yeah, that is really easy. Come back, I think now we should give him after that comment one penalty point in 10 seconds.
Smokey's got loads of penalty points, so that's something for not strong.
If anything, like I said, Max is the one at fault.
Oh, we've just lost somebody.
It's fucking like he can't see Gary.
Pacina.
Gary can't see Max. It's fucking.
I was just put. So why did you change liveries from the last event, guys?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
and then tag them all. You know, it's not. It's in the rules. You cannot change liveries.
Yeah.
Who's?
I will put that in capitals as well because I'm a cunt.
Yeah, the grey one, yeah.
No, if you want to add anything to it, Matt, you can.
I will if it's short.
Smokey came in and what? He was meant to have a qualifying ban.
Yeah, we got told, but then he actually left at the end of qualifying.
Came back
So
in.
he didn't
Start.
that
Right.
he didn't qualify and started at the back.
Yeah, just
Otherwise it'd be a penalty and another ban, but technically
he didn't
he
qualify.
just went out on track,
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Where is it in Google? So I'm going to take a screenshot of it and post it as well.
Just have a think on 993 if you want to give anything else.
Are you doing the Sturge GT4? Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, Gary, your helmet.
Well, that's because Matt cried. Quality. Of course they are. I love them. When we ran them, even Mike enjoyed them. They're fucking great.
If they were on a Monday, I'd race them again. But I can't do it on a Tuesday.
I can't commentate on it one day. So unless Matt commentated it, so it's...
I'm okay with whatever it works for the majority, so...
They're fucking great fun. I love them. Should be interesting.
Just jump in as well.
Yeah, there's no fucking about the setups or whatever. It's just prove that.
That's my thing with the GT4s. That's what I said to Tony. You don't have to fuck about with the setup. That's just what I like.
If you drive the Maserati, you can do that the fuck all.
Yeah, exactly.
Chevy is like... The Chevy makes me laugh though, because when you set up the other cars, they can go quite low to the ground compared to the Chevy, which is at like 100 millimeters off the fucking ground. So it's fucking high as shit.
I didn't crop, did it? Piece of shit.
Just winding him up.
Fucking lots on it.
Fish on hook.
Fucking fish on a
I said he
remix.
cried because he couldn't race GT3s.
Yeah, but you didn't
It's
offer help,
crooked
did you,
penis.
Dan? Enjoy it on GT3s?
What was that laugh? I don't know. Love you, Matt. We joke.
No, I'm not even asked about diving out at the start of quality, because I'm just going to overtake the dog, because he's only going to be a penis and try and squeeze the past. But on the other hand, I'm tempted to go out, just so I don't let him pass.
What are you doing there? Hurry up. Right, okay. I'm about to start, so hurry up.
We'll have a chat later, man.
Fuck you, don't. Now! Literally, I'm starting in about 10 seconds.
Green light. Go, go, go.
5. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, for the qualifying in this second race for round 16 of the championship. Now, Dennis Newman does carry a qualifying ban, so we will not be able to qualify, in this session. Now, I have figured out Michael Harris's drop score with him not being here tonight, so that one has been sorted. I am just going to look through at other drivers who may have a drop score that aren't here. I don't believe anybody does, so we are able to just go through these championship orders. In fact, yes, Joseph Bates does have, so that'll work out that one. And then Cruisers obviously will work out at the end of the night because he is here. So your championship standings then, with Harris and Joseph Bates' current points rejigged a little, obviously due to their drop scores, look a little like this. It is Dan Davis who still leads that championship by 93 points from Jamal Cloud. Overtaker now moves up into third place, 108 points behind. It's Michael Harris, P4, after his obviously drop score sorted out. He is 116 behind. Obviously 509 points still to play for. RB Racing's P5 from Gary Leach in P6. Gary gaining points over him due to RB's mistake in the first race. Car 17 of Richard Beasley is the man who is out there first. Sky Shundermeyer was P7 from Insert Coin in P8. Eckholt is now up to P9. 2 points off the back of Eckholt and 4 points off of Sky Shundermeyer. So Eckholt really having a good little time of it at the moment so far. Mike Matthews drops down to 10th after losing out to Eckholt and Eckholt only, but he has also gained points over Sky Shundelmeyer and over Insert Coin. They've both gone ahead of Tobias Hoffer. Ian Gray is 12th with Ben in 13th. Nikita from Dennis Newman, Pacina. Then it is Fuchs, Burton. Fuchs already up to 19th place out of Gary Burton. He's only done 3 races. That's fantastic. Flem Speed 1. Joe Bates up to 24th. Obviously, that is his scores, which we'll calculate after with other results coming in. O'Reilly from Saber. Kyle, Ramey, Mitra Cannon, King, Stein, Klarbel, Cruiser, Simon Sullivan, Zandberger and Joseph, and all the way from Ramey down cannot win the championship. In terms of that constructors title, it is SimPlay Racing, who are now 47 points clear of Team FBR, but again, that is with Harris's drop score changing to 0. So yes, FBR have gained 3 points. With Harris not here, you feel that SimPlay will pull out a bit of a gap depending on what happens here in this second race. Team FBR second from Quantum Apex Motorsport. Greasy Bandits Racing with Jaeger Motorsport. GK Racing, Effect Motorsport P7. BSP Racing Independent P8. Effect Motorsport 2 P9. FSO Racing Team Independent P10. Smoky Racing Independent P11. And Vorta Racing Independent P13. Pian, it was a very good race one for Michael Eckholt. It's another race win for him this season. That takes him to 4 race wins this season, and in total puts him in a group with Nicky, Bozzy Boy, Danlick, Daz Automatic, De Hoffner and Mike Matthews himself. Daz Automatic being Darren Yeo and Hoffner being Tobias Hoffer. Obviously Danlick we haven't seen since the seasons of PS4, and Bozzy Boy we haven't seen for a good while. Nicky we've not seen Project Cars either. Good win for him. For McLaren it was its 84th race win. The podium's 245 now for McLaren with a double podium, and then the one for the Ferrari as well, putting it on to 97. So Ferrari 3 podiums away from that 100th podium already. Could they get their 100th podium tonight on a night where they the night after they got their 25th race win?
Yeah, well, it's doable, isn't it?
3 of them out there.
We did lose Gary as well.
I know Gary has been struggling with internet recently, so that's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on throughout this race. No, Pacina's still there. He's P12.
Okay. Who else are we missing?
Nope, just Gary. 16 drivers. Was meant to have 18 with O'Reilly and Fiore, so we have only lost Gary 131 or Gary Leach. PSN names. Good evening to Peaceful Stepdad in the chat. Who's your tip for qualifying then? At the minute, Ben is the quickest from Overtaker from Insert Coin, but I get the feeling we've not seen aggressive lap times. Who's that coming across line? That is the 33 of Eckholt. Dan Davis next to do his valid lap. or it says it's invalid, but I've noticed the first laps out are always valid. As Dan Davis to the line, goes only P5 at the moment. Who's the car behind him? The 314 of Pacina. What lap time's he going to be able to put on the board? Comes to the line, goes P4. Good lap time for the Ford Mustang. What about the 36 of Clouden as Gary Leach now gets back into the lobby? 9 minutes 55 left of qualifying. Clouden to the line, he now goes P4. And then that, I believe, is Fuchs just behind, who doesn't put a lap time on the board. Next is car 17 to come around. That is Richard Beasley on a valid lap. Now down to P7. Aren't qualified by the Honda and the Mustang, but it takes a couple of laps. Dan said this last night on commentary. It takes a couple of laps for the car to get up to its pressures and temperatures it needs to be at.
Yeah, it was the same on GT4s as well, but I think it's the nature of Hungaro, really.
Overtaker to the line. Goes pole by 2 tenths. What can Insert Coin do? Any improvement? Yeah, it does. Up to P11. Mike, where's Mike Matthews? He's 9th, sorry, yeah, he's 9th. Couldn't see him on the leaderboard. Will he improve ahead of his teammate? He does, only by a couple of tenths of a second at the minute. Ian Gray needs a big improvement.
Whoa, not that wide he won't.
No, not that wide he won't. Doesn't find anything through there. 33 is on an invalid lap time. That is Eckholt. And then it will be the car number 1 of Dan Davis, then championship leader. Looking for that second pole position around here at the Hungaro ring. Trying to use all the runoff before you flick it left to come back to the right into that final corner. And that camera angle always makes it look like the car understeers from the corner, but when they're actually not. Dan using as much runoff as he dares out the final corner towards the line. Goes P4 within half a second. Not a bad lap time. The 314 is next. That is Pacina before the 36 of Clouden. Where will Pacina go on this lap time? No improvement. Stays P8. He's done the exact same lap time as Mike Matthews, but he did it first, so stays where he is. Jamal Clouden now to the line. Does he find any time? Goes top of the timing screens. Fantastic for him. What about Fuchs this time? Does he get a lap time on the board? P10 for him. Car 17 is next. That is Richard Beasley. There's a call leaving the pit lane, and I believe Jamal Clouden has just returned to pit lane as well after going P1. Ben's crossed the line. He's 3 tenths off the pole, but he was invalid. Richard Beasley now goes to P4, and it's now the 512 of Kevin Stein to maybe take a stab at this pole position. It's currently, PN, getting interesting out there. Is the clouds just come over a little bit?
Yeah, it's a little bit cloudier for this second race, possibly. We'll find out soon or late. Overtaken now across the line.
Yeah, no improvement for him. Insert Coin, no improvement. So back to Mike Matthews before Gary Leach on a lap. Can Mike find that time to go ahead of Pacina? Yes, moves up ahead of him. Just. Not a lot there. But if you look at that top 5, this shows how strong the Ferrari and the McLaren are around this circuit. Top 5 for Ferraris and McLarens.
Yeah. Here comes the Porsche. I think that's Gary now opening his qualifying run. Eckholt now comes to the final corner.
Yeah, he's on a valid lap, so this is going to be interesting to see what Eckholt can do in this qualifying session. He's going to be one to watch without a shadow of a doubt. Half a second off the bat. Dan's on an invalid lap, and I can confirm that because I do actually have Dan's stream on my phone, so it is invalid. It's not just light blue for no reason. The 314 is Pacina, who is next. Going to be interesting to see what Pacina can do in that Ford Mustang, PN. As he stays P9, sorry. The 952, that is Fuchs. Or Fuchs. Yeah, Fuchs.
Fuchs goes to P7.
Yeah, P7. Good lap from him there. 17. That is Richard Beasley. Can he find that 3.5 tenths he needs to improve on his lap time? What's it going to be as he comes to the line? No improvement for him. Next car will be Ian Gray. It's going to be the 512 of Stein. Ian Gray doesn't improve either. Stein yet to get a lap time on the board. What can he do around this circuit now then? Could do with a good qualifying here. Could Kevin Stein to put him up the sharp end of the grid. 1 second, 1.5 seconds off the back. Gary Leach now started his account, as you said a moment ago.
Yeah, as he's coming through the final part of the corner. Circuit. I'll get the right thing eventually. As Clouden said, I'm James Hunt. Hunt the shunt. As Larry rounds the final corner, let's see where this puts Gary on the grid with 5 minutes of the session to go.
Yeah, down towards the start line now. Crosses the line. Well, his dot said he was on a valid lap. But he crosses it and doesn't improve. 33 to the line. That is Eckholt. Half a second off the back. Takes a couple of tenths off the back of it. Dan Davis now on a valid lap time. He's bailed. So Dan has bailed. He's going to go for one more run. Next car on a valid is the 952. That is Fuchs. And as we know, Dennis Newman serving that qualifying ban. Should put him 16th place. But at the minute, Gary Leach hasn't done a valid lap.
That's for games glitched and not going to vary his lap times.
Oh, see, according to the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, the tyres are finished after 3 laps. So that's interesting to keep note of. That's possibly why Dan's just bailed there.
Yeah, it might be why Cloudon's not bothered to come back out.
Possibly so. Who's the next car? 17. That's Richard Beasley. Still got time to get around and get at least 2 more laps in. Maybe a steadier outlap will be the way to go. Richard Beasley to the line. He doesn't improve. What about Mike Matthews? No improvement there. Ian Gray. Slight improvement for him. Insert coin. No improvement. Then we've got Stein in the background. 1.5 off the back. He'd love to get inside that top 10. He does get inside that top 10 at the expense of Pacina. And then we have Gary Leach once again trying to come round and do the business in the solitary Porsche tonight.
Yeah, because Flem's probably still waiting for his rig to his wheelbase to arrive again from Fanatec.
Oh yes, his wheelbase died as well, didn't it?
Yeah. And so did
Mitra Buchanan last week. Yeah, that happened. Both happened on the race night. Here comes Gary Leach towards the line. Now gets a lap time on the board. P13, car 33 is next. That is Eckholt. 3 tenths off the pole. Can he improve? Yes, goes P1 within 900ths of a second of Jamal Clouden, who is still stationary in the pit lane. Next up is Pacina. So an improvement there then, PN, for Eckholt.
Yeah, I'm amazed Clouden's in the pits. Good luck with Fanatec, yeah.
Ben is also in the pits, so Ben's not trying to come out just yet. Pacina back into the top 10. And then look at everybody who's on a lap now. Dan's the next one to come round. Now, his stream says he's on a valid lap. Or he's on his out lap. That's what it'll be. Dan's just come out the pit lane. Next car on a valid is the 512 of Stein. Everybody in front, if he catches them all in front, because they're on an invalid lap, they've got to yield. They cannot get in the way here. Obviously, though, they're all about to start their flying lap time, so they're going to want to prepare themselves to get going while Stein is coming to the end of his lap. It's a tricky situation to find yourself in.
It is, isn't it? So, Stein crossing the line now.
Stays where he is. Gary Leach, the next man.
As he rounds the penultimate corner. Yeah, that'll be definitely the penultimate corner. Here at the Hungara ring, where Benny Vargas seen double jags.
He was here at the weekend, wasn't he? Watching the Formula 1. No, Benny Varga. Gary out the final corner now, down towards the start line. Where's it going to put him? Stays P13. The 314 of Pacina is next. Clouden and Ben still not come back out the pits, and they cannot now. They will not get another lap in.
Nope.
Kevin Stein is done.
Clear, so do you burn your tyres up to try to get a quicker lap, or do you save them?
Well, it depends how many tyres you've got, doesn't it? It depends if you've used a set of tyres. Obviously, we only have 10 sets throughout the season. Here comes Stein. Throughout the race night, sorry. Stein doesn't improve. It's Eckholt next, and can he extend that pole position lap time? No, he can't. Then it's Dan Davis, who is on an invalid lap time, as are a couple of the cars behind him. Next one on a valid lap is Mike Matthews. So Dan gets one more shot. The 81 of King gets one more shot. The 952 of Fuchs gets one more shot. Or does he? Fuchs is in the pits.
He's done.
So Fuchs is done. Here comes Mike Matthews. He'll get one more lap. He's currently on a valid. Needs 2 tenths to go ahead of Insert Coin. Can he find it? He can, yes. But what does Insert Coin do? Nothing in return. What about Ian Gray? No improvement for himself either.
The next person who probably be... don't forget to get across the line for another lap will be the overtaker.
Yeah, he'll be there plenty of time.
He's rounding the final turn now. see what the pink pebble does.
Good lap from Mike to move him up to P8. Overtaker goes Paul by 2.5 tenths.
And Eckholt is on circuit.
He is still circulating. The 33. He's on an invalid lap though, PN. Here comes Gary Leach. Gary will just get one more lap in. Improves to P12. So Eckholt on an invalid lap. Next man on a valid one is Dan Davis. Eckholt pulls to the side, returns to the pit lane. Oh, has that just invalidated it for Dan? Gone a very, very wide through the left-hander.
Apparently on
Oh, no, yeah, no.
screens.
Yeah, keeps it going. I've just looked at his stream and it's still valid. So Dan on a valid lap. The car behind him, the 81, is King. He's invalid. So he's done. He'll be 15th place.
Oh, Mike's just invalidated his. I just saw his Dr. Light Blue.
Here comes Dan Davis. Can he find 3 tenths? Get ahead of Richard Beasley. No improvement for Dan Davis. Overtaker's done, and it is just Gary Leach out there on a lap to try and find some more times. That everybody is done apart from Gary Leach. Dan down in 6th. That's not the qualifying he'd wanted. He has said, though, he stated last night that he's not a big fan of this car around this circuit. It seems to struggle. Overtake a provisional pole depending on what this man Gary Leach can do.
No,
and he's just invalidated it. So that is the end of qualifying. It is going to be Overtaker who takes a first pole position at this circuit. And I wonder if Gary was up. He was pushing through the corners. Mike P8, insert coin P9. Not bad for them two. Pacina rounds out the top 10 in the Mustang. Not too bad. Fuchs P7. What can he do off the start line? Ben's P4. Good qualifying lap from Ben. Standing down in 11th place. He'll be disappointed with that one. Echo on the front row with Overtaker. That's going to be a fantastic fight between them two, and Cruiser down in 15th place. Right then, race 2, the hour-long race. Who's your money on?
Taker. It's got to be between Taker and Eckholt. Maybe Clouden. Look at that, the top 4 are McLarens. You know, everyone in the McLarens had an extra performance from their 1-2 in the F1 that weekend.
Yes, motivating them on to do exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
So the poll is up. Don't forget, while we have the wait, if you are new to SimPlay Motorsport, hit that bell to be notified when we go live, and hit that thumbs up button if you like what you see here. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to get involved with any of the action, make sure you join the Discord server. And if you want to check out our fantastic sponsors, and I'm going to read the description for this. Let me load YouTube up and I'll read the description of the sponsors, because I always mess up Audio Sport. Can never remember what T number it is.
T4s.
Oh. Let's have a look.
20 seconds.
Alright, check out our fantastic sponsors. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merch. The link is in the description to take you to their page. And Audio Sport, manufacturer of VW Transporter, T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk or press the link to take you to Facebook as well. In the description is the link to Discord and all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Check out our TikTok, where our social media guru Dan Davis puts on some fantastic TikToks from time to time of different little bits, and it's going to be an interesting one to see going forward in the future. What happens and what develops. That went on a YouTube short. Yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. Make sure you check that one out. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. You're going Taker. Did you go Taker or Clouden? Sorry.
Taker.
I'm going to go Eckholt.
You know, pad users have to
Which means Ben's going to win. Because we know what the commentator curse is like.
Oh, it's very real. It's
right.
Very, very real.
That cloud is shifted, PN. And it's 40 degrees track temperature. Tyre change in the pit stops?
I would, because the extra 5 seconds can make a hell of a difference at the end of the race.
Massively could. Indeed.
If you've got the option,
which means the undercut might not be as effective in this second race.
No. If you've got the option for the tyre, take it.
Yeah. Watkins Glen action next week. If you want to watch the GT4s, make sure you come and tune in on Tuesday night. Dan Davis will be bringing you all the GT4 action stateside from Watkins Glen. Myself and Dan Davis will be back in the box on Wednesday night for Pro, and myself and Phil will be back next Thursday for Pro. As we head into the final 4 weeks of the season. Now, normally, Phil, we only normally do a 10-week calendar. It's 12 weeks this season. This would be the third to last race of the season. We'll be going into the penultimate race next week.
Yeah.
Well,
slightly longer season because no one really signed up for the fun events. I couldn't really do many of them because reasons. I still can't really race because of reasons, but I prefer the GT4s because I don't have to worry about setting the car up as much. It's just like, ooh, what TC level should I have? 1. ABS. And tyre pressures. That's all I worry about.
As everybody now trying to file 2 by 2 on this start. I think that's one of the first times I've never put Dan in who's going to win the race. Good evening to Mother Davis in the chat. Have you been watching the Olympics rugby, Mother Davis? Not that Team GB are in it. There's been some good rugby sevens action in the Olympics, which started yesterday. Obviously the official opening ceremony for the Olympics is tomorrow. Now towards the final corner. The hush before the mayhem. Taker from Eckel. McLaren. And then it's all Italian on rows 3 and 4. Ferrari, Lamborghini. But for round 16 of the season, we are green and go, and it is a great start for Overtaker, and that for Michael Eckholt. Cloudon's trying to go with him. Ben a little bogged down. Dan Davis looks like he's got away well. He is side by side with Richard Beasley. I think Dan's got a bit of a jump over Richard Beasley though, as Dan's taken to the outside line. Do they all filter through nice and easy? That is Ben and Beasley and Dan, all 3 abreast coming through turn 1. Ben manages to come out of that on top. Now Dan's got Fuchs on his outside with Richard Beasley just in front, and so far so good for these drivers. That is Insert Coin who's just tapped Fuchs on the entry towards turn 2. Dennis Newman's also around as well, but it's Overtaker who leads from Eckel, from Jamal Cloudon, all heading up towards turn 1 and that first sector for the first time. Cloudon from Ben, from Beasley, from Dan Davis. Mike Matthews moves up a place as well. And Gary Leach up into 12th, just waiting for Fuchs to come through that sector time, who's down the back of the order at the moment, but Cloudon doing well. Ben trying to stay ahead of Richard Beasley. Is he round? He is. He's backwards and round. Oh, and Ben's clipped him. So Ben chose the wrong way to go. Was Overtaker though still rolling there, and the man from pole has absolutely ruined it. Ben's got back going before Overtaker. So it is now Michael Eckholt from Jamal Cloudon, and that's something that Dan Davis could have a rare smile about after race 1. He'll be possibly now focusing on Jamal Cloudon, who's just in front of him. Pacina's having a look up the inside of Gary Leach and towards the back end of the circuit. Gary leaves plenty of room now. Stein having a look up the inside of Pacina. Can't have a look up the inside of Gary though. Pacina going very wide. If he can hang it around there, he'll have that inside line for the next part. No, Stein, good move up the inside. He comes back into the middle. And that is huge damage for Taker in the lead of this race, PM.
Yeah, but still very early into this race, but that McLaren will not be happy. That will not be happy at all. That's probably the contact with Ben, possibly, as well. Pacina
looking around the outside of Stein into turn 1. Didn't happen for the Mustang. That could put Cruiser onto the back of him. Then comes King, who's got Ben on his rear. Let's take a look at Ben's car. What damage does Ben have? A bit of front end damage there.
Yeah, and then we've got Coyne and Newman.
Coyne, Newman, Gray, Taker, Fuchs. Does Fuchs have any damage? We saw him have that tap with Insert Coin.
The car looks clean.
I think there's a little scuff on the front, but nothing major. Down the left-hand side as well. So, yeah, nothing too major for him at this stage of the game. But it is Beasley putting some pressure on Cloudon, with Dan Davis trying to put the pressure on Beasley. It looks like that gap has just changed a little bit, because Beasley now looks closer to Cloudon than what the sector time suggests. So here is Jamal at the minute. Is Mike putting Dan under a little bit of pressure there in the background as well? He looks a bit closer to Dan. Maybe Dan's had a bit of a mistake mid-sector. Stein's trying to gain on Gary Leach. We've got Ben on the back of King as well. There's into Coyne. Ian Gray with Overtaker on the back of him. I wonder if Taker's going to be able to get his move done on Ian Gray. Down towards the bottom end of the circuit. Up the inside he goes. No, not just yet. Gray not giving it him as easy. Gray fighting him hard. Overtaker with that pole. 1 pole, 2 wins to his name. And he's stuck behind Gray at the minute after that spin at turn 1. Gomez trying to get on the back of Ben. Ben trying to get on the back of King. We see that Cruzier is in no man's land at the minute. Pacina's trying to get on the back of Stein. Stein on the back of Gary Leach. And is he round?
No, he held that one, but coming in the final corner, but he lost the rear again.
Lost the rear again then. Stein couldn't get past Gary Leach here then. Beasley has definitely gapped Dan Davis a little bit, although Dan again looks like he's brought that gap back down to Beasley. Clouden is now within a second of Eckholt, so is Eckholt just possibly looking after his tyres at this stage of the race? So it's going to be an interesting one, Pien. See how this one unfolds. 55 minutes left of action. And there's at least another 18 minutes for Overtaker to wait until the pit window opens.
Yeah, but if he's sliding a car, you're going to start cooking these tyres. And there's something wrong. Why until the window opens again as well?
Yeah, you are indeed. As Richard Beasley's fell off the back of Clouden. Look, he's just a little wide through that part of the circuit. That's allowed Dan Davis to creep onto the back of him. Dan started to pull away from Mike a little bit more. Oh, Dan's very wide through there. Yeah, that is very wide through there. Richard Beasley was quite wide as well.
Be surprised if he picked it warm for that one. Track limit's quite harsh around here.
Very harsh around here. Down the order. Here's Stein on the back of Gary Leach. Pacina just dropping off the back of him. This is where he can use that Mustang horsepower in the straights to gain. Stein with Gary. It's going to be an interesting one down the start straight. Gary's just losing out to Mike Matthews, you feel here. Taker's still not got past Gray, and now he's got the dirty air of Dennis Newman with them as well. It's a little three-way fight. As Insert Coins having a look on Travis King towards turn 1 up the inside. Ben's lost out to Insert Coin then. Ben with a bit of damage. And then look at this behind. Here comes Taker. Here comes Gray. Taker tucks back in. Gray turns in. Newman nearly turned it on to Gray. And Newman now has to take that wider line. And that allows Gray and Overtaker through. So they both go through. Stein still behind Gary. Clouden's lost out to Eckholt a little bit. Beasley's lost out to Clouden. He's got Dan Davis keeping him really honest at the moment.
Yeah, good battle between Gray and Taker. Taker got to try to go round the outside into turn 4. Oh, Dennis clipped Overtaker into Gray. Oh, very, very messy, Ben.
Caught the end of that one. Taker in the wars tonight. Dennis Newman pulls off to the side of the road, has allowed Gray and Overtaker to get back going. Overtaker very unhappy and flashing his lights. Oh, that's a retaliation! Oh, that's naughty! Oh, you cannot drive like that. That is unacceptable behaviour from Overtaker there. Now we've got Cruiser on the back of Insert Coin. Insert Coin's got ahead of him. We've got Cruiser, with King and Ben on the attack. Ben trying to attack the back of King. I'm sorry, I don't care what the incidents are. You raise the ticket with the stewards at the end of the night. You do not retaliate like that. That is out of order. But back to the action. We are going to move on. Yeah, Cruiser runs a little wide over the curve. Just has a little bit of a moment. Sorry, Pierre, go on.
Ben's doing quite well with that damaged car. Keep them on the back of these two.
I think the middle sector he's a lot quicker than these two, and that's where he's able to bring it through. King's going up the inside at Cruiser. He's gone deep. He's gone so very deep. Cruiser tucks back up underneath. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. Ben's now going to have a look. He's going to have a run down towards turn 2. Ben's got ahead. King's going to try and stay up that inside line. Is he going to break? He's tapping!
Oh.
And King's... Excuse me, King's now going to 8. That's allowed Fuchs through. And here comes Gray. Very naughty indeed. And Adam Camp loves that saying. Yeah, indeed it was, Chris, in the chat. Stein on the back of Gary still. And he is looking racy at the moment, is Stein. The problem, PN, is he cannot get past out of Gary Leach in front.
Dan is within 7/10 of Beasley. I've been watching the battle for the last podium place. And Stein's really struggling to get past Gary.
Keeps having a look. And Gary keeps doing that to let Stein have the room in case Stein goes for that lunge up the inside, and Stein messes it up like that, PN.
Yeah, and Gary's driving the widest 992 ever at the moment.
He does indeed.
You just send the wheels out.
Well,
meanwhile, Cloudon's brought the gap down by a time.
Yeah, he has. And Dan's got within half a second of Richard Beasley. So has Dan just maybe looked after his tyres? Me and Dan said last night that a few cars looked like they went through a bit of like a heat cycle phase on their car. And is that what is happening here? We've got Dennis Newman down the back of the pack. I'm not going to read some of the comments that are coming in at the moment. We are going to move on from that chat. We're going to move on from the incident. We're going to look to the other racing that is happening out there on the circuit. This will be now left for the admins and the stewards to fill out reports. Oh, Dan all over turn 4. Manages to keep it within limits. Mike didn't. Mike was off to the new circuit in Hungary that Benedict Varga managed to have a drive around. Geez, that would have pinged up a warning before Mike's even thought of letting off the throttle. Very wide. Dan's just getting closer, then losing a tenth, gaining a tenth, losing a tenth at the minute on the back of Beasley. It's the dirty. It's possibly also just that, Beasley's stronger here, Dan's stronger there.
Yeah, it's wherever the Lambo's far stronger compared with the Fezzer, really, isn't it?
Gary wide, Stein wide, Pacina, bang on in-track limits. And Stein's going to have a look up the inside of Gary Leach at the same place he's looked all race onto the curb. Gary again. Gary gives him the room. And look, Pacina's now putting Stein under some pressure. He's having a look into the penultimate corner. And not going to happen there. Indeed it is, Chris. Has been a little messy tonight. Go on, PN, what's happening?
Cloudon's been half a second, roughly, of Eckholt.
Wonder if it's just a phase of the tyres that they're going through. As they come down.
Or it has that phase that we get in the Bentley or the M4.
Yeah, potentially so.
5 minutes smoke those. You know what? I just don't want to be a car at the moment.
I'm not sure what's happened to Cruiser and King, but they've been passed by Gray and Overtaker. And Overtaker and Gray move up another couple of positions. Pacina's looking up the inside of Stein, taps him.
Oh, and Pacina's waiting for Stein to get moving again.
He knows he's tapped him round, and Insert Coin's gone not one but two. Thank you. No, not quite got Stein, but he'll take that one place from the Mustang. Oh no, he won't. No, he won't. The Mustang's horsepower has pulled it right back up the inside of Insert Coin. Well, Gary's now got free release. Dan's within 3/10 now of Richard Beasley. So Dan looking strong. Dennis Newman into the pit lane. So he's going to have to pit again. Pit window opened in about 10 minutes 45 seconds time. Now, I think that track limit warning where you've just seen Dan go over the white line, I think it's over the curb there, is the track limit warning. So that's fine by Dan. You can push that curb. It's over the curb at the minute. Cloudon's still within 8/10, but Dan within half a second. Is this just the Lamborghini and maybe Dan being better on his tyres at this stage of the race than Richard Beasley? Dennis Newman's out the pits. Sorry, Pian.
Beasley could be saving his tyres as well.
Yeah, potentially so. Just going to be an interesting one to see.
The FPR, they're in the party on the Xbox talking.
Well, through they go through turn 1. Cloudon's on the back of Eckholt. Near enough. That's 7/10. Cloudon's still looking. Jamal's just got to keep doing this. And, he's chipped points off of Dan tonight. And that's all he's got to keep doing. Is just chip away every now and again. Taker's got ahead of Ian Gray, who's now coming under pressure from Travis King. Piscina's kept in front of Insert Coin, and Piscina's now trying to get onto the back of Stein. It has been a little rough and tumble in this second race.
I'll tell you what, I hope we got a drink ready for the first person to hit track numbers, apparently.
Like Mazda says in the chat, no need to push at the moment. Plenty of time to go in this race, and we saw a couple of penalties last night, didn't we? A couple of drive-through stop-goes for speeding in the pit lane. That sounded like a car spinning in the background. Don't believe it was, no. No, don't believe it was. Just must have been a tyre squeal over the curb at turn 4. Cloudon's now got within 6/10, and in fact has lost a 10th through that middle sector. Dan's closed a 10th in that middle sector over Richard Beasley. Stein and Piscina is the closest fight on the circuit. In fact, Piscina and Insert Coin's the closest fight. This is where the Honda's going to be a lot better than the Mustang. We know the Mustang's grunt in the straight line. And again, that tyre squeal from behind, that must be Fuchs. Absolutely. Them tyre squeals you're hearing, they are going to do the tyres no good at all.
He's probably got no TC on at all. He's just booting it. When Kunos actually says, use the TC.
Cloudon has lost a lot of time. He's lost half a second in that final sector.
Yeah. He's slightly wide coming out of turn 1 as well. On the curb, out lose traction as well.
Well, here comes Piscina, just pulling away from the Honda and gaining on the Ferrari.
Run into pity we don't have Monza this season.
I know, imagine if we had Monza this season. It'd be absolutely fantastic to see what that Mustang would be able to do as it closes again on that Ferrari into the second corner. Can't do anything about it. Dan's gap to Richard Beasley's gone back up to over a second. This is the closest fight on track at the moment between these three. 45 minutes into the race. Sorry, Pierre.
With what happened, that's given Gary a lovely bit of breathing space right now.
Yeah, he has. And Gary can sort of control his race at the moment, look after them tyres, be nice and patient, and just maybe look to chip away at Mike in that first part of the session. As Stein very slow through the chicane. Piscina's going to have a look at the inside, not through there. And this is where, look, you can see where Insert Coin is strong, and that is through this part of the circuit.
Yeah. At least we've got Stein here from
JWP. JWB, sorry.
Yeah. I wonder if we were going to get Wolfinator back.
We used to have Wolfinator, Hitman. Good drivers.
I know we have him in the endurance race still. Wolfie was Stein. It's me calling him nicknames again.
Well, here comes Stein and Piscina and Insert Coin, but again, this is where the gap's going to flow back to Piscina, gaining over Stein, that it is Insert Coin. Just look at that Mustang. So as he crosses line, he was half a second to Stein, near enough 4 tenths to Stein, 3 tenths to Insert Coin, and look at that, he's nearly alongside Stein in towards turn 1. Stein, Piscina pretty much had to stop on the apex there. I don't think Stein left him the room, and that's allowed Insert Coin to have a look in what will be the outside line for turn 2, but the Mustang's grunt will pull him back in front. I don't think Stein left Piscina enough room on the curb there, Pierre.
No, there was definitely no racing room. Well, you heard me on the console. Like that, wouldn't you? Overtake a damaged car, fastest lap of the race. Bono, my tyres are gone, fastest lap of the race.
Yeah. Interesting that one from Overtaker, because he must have some damage on that car, but yet has, like you say, done the fastest lap. As Insert Coin looking to try and tuck underneath the Mustang at the moment, can't do so. Richard Beasley's closed it on Cloud, and that's under 2 seconds.
Yeah,
and now it's nearly back up to 2 seconds. Apologies.
This is the battle though between Stein, Piscina and Coin.
We've got Fuchs 4 seconds off in the background. He's been caught by Ben, who's 5.3 clear of Overtaker.
Ben's driving the wheels off that McLaren.
So that's interesting to see, because at the minute, like I say, I have Dan's stream on. Dan's best lap is a 44.7, so what has Overtaker done?
I'll have a look, shall I?
To get that fastest lap. Let's just drop back to Ben. There he is. Bit of damage on the front of his McLaren, trying to hunt down the Ferrari of Fuchs. On a bit of a comeback drive, not the race one due to the damage. 44.0. Wow, so that just shows how good the McLaren is around this circuit. And now this is where Piscina will not be under pressure from Insert Coin anymore. Stein's been pretty much relaxed this last lap.
There's Take coming into view behind Ben, because I'm watching the Ben Fuchs battle.
Yep, there he is, just over the brow of the hill. I'm seeing a 1.2 behind Stein. Gary's lost time to Mike, so Mike and Gary running on their own really, because Gary's lost 5 seconds to Dan. He's lost touch. Dan trying to stay with Beasley. Beasley gaining a little bit over Clouden, and Clouden's brought the gap back down once again to Eccles. But at the minute it is Insert Coin trying to hunt down after Pacina, and it is Stein trying to hunt down after Fuchs. Ben who's trying to hunt down after Fuchs.
Do you know what it is? It's the grunt machine versus the grip machine.
Yeah.
That's what it is between Pacina and Coin.
If you look at that fight though, and Pacina pulls that gap in, you know, with its straight line speed, and then all through this sector of the circuit, Insert Coin's up the rear of him, just cannot find a way through because you can't really overtake at this part of the track.
No, and I think they are starting to lose time to Fuchs and Ben behind.
Yeah, they have lost 3 tenths over the last lap and a bit. So Fuchs and Ben coming. Ben's just dropped off the back of Fuchs a little bit. Clouden's back to 1.3 to Eccles. He's gapped Richard Beasley. Beasley's also gapped Dan a little more. So the front four really are ebbing and flowing, but not really, you know, doing anything at the moment.
Well, Mike and Gary are on islands of their own. In their own little bubble.
And look at these two. Even though these two are kind of pushing each other through that middle sector and down the start straight, they're gaining on Stein again.
Yeah, there goes the grunt machine down the straight, pulling away from the grip for.
And Pacina now back to within a couple of tenths. Stein's gone deep though at turn 1. Is this Pacina's opportunity to get alongside? And with the grunt of the Mustang, pulls in front. Stein's going to have to be brave on the brakes here. Tries to be nearly into the back of him. Coin's going to try and tuck underneath now. And Coin can't tuck underneath. A flash of the lights from Stein there, but I saw nothing wrong with that from Pacina. Nope. It was Stein who went wide on his own.
Yeah, Stein. Pacina was nowhere near him. From our POV anyway.
Coin's now trying to tuck underneath. Fuchs is back up to 4 seconds behind. And he's got Ben closing the gap. Taker's closing the gap to Ben.
Oh, Pacina will hop on the curb.
Yeah, Coin on the grass. And before you say it in the chat, yes, it's a lawnmower. We understand.
Mazda's already
I know
that.
he has. That's why I said it when I said Coin on the grass.
Mazda's already said that about Honda's mowing lawns.
Here comes Stein though. And Coin on the back of... Now, Pacina's got the opportunity here. He's got a bit of a gap over these two. Coming into his final couple of corners, he can use that grunt to now pull away. Kind of do an Argent from last night in race 1.
Yeah, park it and just hold his line. Meanwhile, Eccles is about to lap Dennis Newman.
Dennis Newman has been in the pits, though. Early. Pit window opens in 1 minute and 8 seconds, so this is going to be an interesting one.
Will the undercut work in the hour-long race? That is the question.
Well, that is the question. This is going to be the interesting one to see. It's all going to matter on that change of tyres, isn't it? As to whether the undercut works.
Me personally, I'd rather have a fresh set of tyres because these ones are going to be screaming at you now.
So do you go 50-50 in the race sort of thing, or 60-40?
50-50. Dennis moves over out of the way, but he has to return to the racing line to go through the chicane.
Yeah, not the place. You'd have probably been better off straight line in the chicane than anything else.
As Clouden's now through, and then there's about 3 seconds till Beasley is on him.
So this still a good fight. Clouden's now within a second. Beasley's lost a lot of time. Dan's lost time to Beasley, but is pulled from Mike. Mike's still pulling over Gary. Pacina 7th with Stein in 8th. Insert Coin, we know that's the big fight there. Then it's Fuchs in 10th. He's just got Ben a little bit in 11th. Overtaker's catching on to him in 12th. From Ian Gray, Travis King, Cruiser, and then Dennis Newman is now a lap down to the top two, who both stay out on the circuit. As Richard Beasley does, as well as Dan. I don't think we're going to see pit stops for at least another 7 minutes. Although Dennis Newman is in. I don't think the front runners are going to be pitting so early. Mike, did you just say Mike was in as well?
Mike's in, yeah.
If it's a change of tyres, I don't think that's going to work, personally. If Mike's changing tyres, fair play. If Mike's gambling a non-change of tyres, then could be a good strategy. Here comes Pacina, with Stein on the back of him and insert coin, but you just...
Ben's in. Taker's in. Very great.
PN, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Just moved my mic and it unplugged the wire, so at least you can still hear me. Pacina managed to pull away, so Ben in, Taker in, not surprised there coming in. Gray stays out, interesting. And obviously the whole field's going to lap Dennis Newman. Dennis Newman will get to unlap himself soon. And this is an interesting one for me.
Cruiser's in.
Cruiser in, Mike away. The question for me then is, did Mike change tyres?
Yeah, I don't have enough devices to watch everyone's.
No, but that's why we're asking the question, isn't it? Did Mike change tyres?
Maybe. We're just going to go with maybe.
Well, he's out onto the track. He's behind King. We'll see the gap to King in a moment. Eccles is at the minute going to lap Ben and Overtaker and Cruiser. And possibly Dennis Newman again, who has gone green and will need to get a motor on, otherwise that will be a third retirement and 25 championship points taken away from him. And the qualifying ban for next week. Got to finish the races. And that'll be the second driver. That'll be the second driver to be hit with that penalty this season. So where is Eccles now? Then obviously Eccles still to pit. He's through. So is Clouden. So is Beasley. There goes Dan. Gary Leach now up into P5. This is going to be an interesting one as well.
Cruisers away.
And look at behind. In fact, Pacina. Who's on the back of Pacina and where's Insert Coin gone? Has he come into the pits? He has. And Pacina's there. I wondered where Insert Coin had gone there for a moment.
Coin's possibly gone to try the undercut.
Oh! Look at that. Pacina's had to avoid the back of Cruiser there, who's a lapped car. Needs to yield the time.
He's not, though. He's racing, though.
He is. He does seem to be racing Pacina around the outside. He's got to yield that time. He's got 3 corners. That's one for now. What would be Stein. Moves out the way now, and out the way he goes. Overtaker is out of the pits. Oh, Ben's had a problem out the pit lane. He's had a problem at the top of turn 4, and here comes Overtaker. Looks like Ben's really got damage. Taker back in front.
Yeah, it looked like Taker's repaired his damage as well, which I don't blame him because that was not pleasant. Gray's in.
Gray in, Coin in, King in. And Clouden's back within a second look of Michael Eccles. So will the undercut work? Who's going to know around this circuit at the moment in this second race? Because it's going to be interesting to see about that tyre strategy. Clouden stays out, as does Richard Beasley. I assume Dan's probably going to that halfway mark, I imagine, unless he's going to go really long. Gary's 18 seconds behind. Gary's only 4.4 up the road from Pacina. So Gary could do with putting in some laps in.
He could do. Pacina's got that Ferrari of Stein all over him.
He has.
Oh, Gary looks wide.
Pacina's in.
Oh, that's a wobble.
Pacina's in, and Fuchs comes in as well. Dennis Newman still stationary. Now you have to complete 75% of the race to be counted as scoring points. A retirement at the end will still be that. Yeah. And you cannot just come out to complete the last lap of the race as well. We encourage all drivers to finish races here.
It's not like Project Cars 2, like where you...
yeah, when you retire, you're done.
Or F1. When you knock the wheel off, you're done. And people say we should race around the Northside. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes you wonder. What the hell is Ben doing? He stopped on the start straight. Interesting. Chris, go and do some investigating. Find out and let us know. We saw him at turn 4. And Eccles got Clouden within half a second now. Clouden right there. King and Gray are pretty close. They're having a squabble. Ben is on the back of Cruiser. Ben's down to 15th. So has he just had a problem with his wheel or something? And Eckholt and Clouden carry on their way. Richard Beasley does as well, as does Dan Davis. This has got the smell of an undercut with a tyre change for Dan Davis to possibly win this race.
It does, don't it? Especially if Eckholt and Clouden.
Or Beasley. An undercut, change tyres, bang. Yeah, you're going to lose 5 seconds if the leaders don't do it. Oh, Ben says his engine just cut out, is what the report is. But that has all the markings for Dan or Beasley. Undercut, change tyres, fresh rubber, go.
196 is off.
Who is the 196? That is Cruiser. Final part of the circuit. On the straight, foot flat. Does he have an engine button? I wonder if he's caught his engine button on his steering wheel. Yeah, and just like turned it off. It says it's glitching by the looks of it. So keep our eyes on Ben. That could be a hardware issue that could cause Ben to retire. It'll be no points at this stage of the race, but it won't be a qualifying ban for the retirement if it is a hardware problem.
And it could be proved. But if it's a wheel issue, especially if it's a fan attack, they seem to be dying a lot lately. People's fan attacks. Especially Flame Speed 1 and Mitch Buchanan for the last few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of them have had wheelbase issues. I've seen Thrustmasters catch on fire as well.
Oh, I know Gary's Thrustmaster died. Pacina's come out still ahead of Insert Coin, and here goes Insert Coin. Stein's into the pits. So these two are going to get in front of him and actually going to have gapped him by some margin, just proving how effective the undercut is. Look, Stein, who is bottom end of the pit lane as well, so he's not going to be gapped that much.
And Fuchs has jumped all of them in the pits.
Yeah, Fuchs has jumped all of them. Undercutting.
Or didn't change tyres.
Well, that's the biggest question. We'll find out. Hypertech saying that's strange. This has happened. Tank's engine cut out last night as well. So, and Chris says he's running the Thrustmaster. So that's interesting. His Insert Coin goes up the inside then of Stein. Stein trying to go back up the inside of him. Bounces over the curb and Insert Coin gets the move done. Pacina can pull away. Eckholt and Dan Davis in. I said this smelt like an undercut victory. If I was Clouden, I'd have followed Eckholt into the pits there. And Gary Leach also into the pits as well. So far, Clouden and Richard Beasley, the only two to carry on their way. If this is a change of tyres, then this is a blinder, potentially, depending on who stays in. Now, let's count them seconds as they go by. Eckholt's gone 1. I think Dan's changing tyres. What was Dan off of Clouden? Off of Beasley, sorry. 2 or 3 seconds.
2 or 3 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so 9 seconds to Clouden, so possibly 10 or 11 seconds to Eckholt. Well, let's see. Dan's away now, and it says 10 seconds. I don't think that is the actual gap. Mike gets to jump over Gary. Fuchs coming through as Gary's now away, so Gary's going to be out in front of them. Yeah.
It's just a race for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it has been, really. It's been an interesting race for all the wrong reasons. Apart from this Eckholt and Dan situation, I'm interested to see the gap between Dan and the others. Fuchs is actually close to the back of Gary Leach. Gary Leach will drop to 6th and might go through the timing screen. Jamal Clouden is now in, so that shows where Clouden is in relation to Eckholt. Eckholt's at the chicane with a lapped car in front of him. Dan 12 seconds behind Eckholt, so I don't think Dan's changed tyres there.
I've just noticed Dennis's internet's keep on red, his connection bar. So maybe he's lagging again, last week.
We'll have to wait and see. Insert Coin on the back of Pacina. And King's been passed by Overtaker as well. So that is a move that has changed places.
Right, where's Eckholt on the track? See if he jumps Clouden and Beasley.
Well, this is going to be the biggest question, is where's Dan's going to be compared to Clouden and Beasley. That undercut that he tried to go long in race 1, it didn't work. Here comes Eckholt round the final corner. Where's Dan coming into the penultimate corner now? And Clouden goes green, Beasley goes green. So that's pretty quick for Beasley. Clouden's already off the limiter. Where's Eckholt? Just coming through now. And where's Beasley? There he is. He's now off the limiter. Where's Dan Davis? Just coming down the start straight. So I think Dan's changed tyres.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Dan has changed tyres. He looks a lot further behind Beasley than he did before. If Dan has got fresh rubber and the three in front didn't, then I think that is an undercut that is possibly going to be an absolute treat for Dan Davis come the end of this race. So it is all about keeping your eyes out on Dan Davis at the end of this one.
It is, and well, still a long way to go.
Fuchs within a second of Gary. Pacina trying to gain on Fuchs. Then you've got Insert Coin and Stein thereabouts. King is just under half a second behind Gray, who didn't look like he repaired his damage.
No, I'm just checking to see if there's anything said.
Nope, nothing been said. So we've got 26 minutes left. And Dennis's internet has gone back to being okay, so, you know, why he can't come out on the track at the moment, I don't really know. He's 5 laps down now, so, you know.
Well, he hasn't driven for the last 10 minutes, roughly, so, since the window opened, so he's not going to do 75% of the race, is he?
No, he's definitely not going to. Well, the leaders are coming through. Dan's 3.1 behind Beasley. Let's keep our eyes on that Dan Davis gap. He's got 6.8 to Mike. Fuchs now within a second of Gary. This is a bit of a train forming here. Kreuser's back into the pit lane. So there's Gary, Fuchs, Pacina, Insert Coin, and Stein, with Overtaker hunting them all down. It's just going to be an interesting development, isn't it? Overtaker may as well have changed tyres with the amount of damage he had. It's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on, Pierre.
Yes. Taker's already got the point. So far, got the point for fastest lap. Someone bangs one in from nowhere.
Fuchs within half a second of Gary. Come on, Mike, says Adam Carl. Mike's got a fan. Don't really have a fan club. Or Boris' stepdad in the chat. Don't really have a fan club.
One fan.
So Gary's coming under pressure from Fuchs, who's coming under pressure from Pacina. Insert Coin and Stein have dropped off a little bit. Taker's just crossed the line. He's 21 seconds behind. King is gaining on Gray. That's 3/10. This could be a look down into turn 1 for King in the slipstream. Having a look now, is he? No, just a look, but didn't do anything else.
No.
No, stays as it is. We'll go back to the Gary Leach fight then for the time being.
Eckholt's only got a 3-second lead now on Clouden.
Yeah, he's pulled a good strategy. Dan's down to 2.8. Gary a bit too much curb through the chicane. That's put Fuchs right onto the back of him.
Yeah. Someone's got to be close to track than currently by now.
Well, I mean, these are the pros. They're not meant to be. Insert Coin to get the mower working. What a name. And then the Outlaws Motorcycle... I'm going to ignore him now. The Outlaws Motorcycle Club, I think most have changed the tyres. They don't last very long on this track. I'd agree with you, but I'm not sure if most have. Has Eckholt? That's the biggest one. I don't know if Richard Beasley did either. As Fuchs now to the outside of Gary towards that final corner. It's all about that momentum now down this straight. They've both got Pacina there, double slipstream, and that extra horsepower of the Ford Mustang. 23 minutes left in this race, Pien. Yeah, and there's a bit of a train developing.
Behind Gary. Oh, Fuchs is looking. Gary's wide.
Oh, he's gone very deep. Fuchs has gone so deep. And Pacina's going to get through there as well. What about Insert Coin? No, not close enough. But Fuchs, Dale $8 short.
Gary saw that coming, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Mazda did as well, based off that comment in the chat there. Big send coming turn 1. Huge send, just didn't come off.
Gary definitely saw that one coming, didn't he? Gary's got to be super tired if you're going to catch him short.
Gray's gapped King just ever so slightly. Ben wide at the last corner. And yeah, so Pacina's now on the back of Gary for P6. Pit window's now closed. Cruz has been in the pits now for 2 laps. Or for a lap, sorry. He was already a lap down. About to be 2 laps down. Eckholt is on new rubber in the comments. So That's probably the way to go. I'd be surprised if people didn't change tyres at 39 degrees track temperature.
Yeah, well, I said I would, but in the GT4s we only have a 20-minute sprint race and no pit stops, so...
Oh, Pacina got very close to the back of Gary there. And he's now looking racy. The thing for that Mustang is we know the Porsche is a bit slower in a straight line. The Mustang could just pull down the start straight. All depends on how it corners through these final couple.
Oh, Fuchs
very wide. Yeah,
wide.
yeah. I'll be surprised if we don't get a track limits penalty coming soon. And I think Pacina is too far back on Gary. He's having a look. Yeah, he's having a look. Gary gives him the room. And I think that's going to probably have messed up Pacina's run through turn 1. And Gary now on the defensive, pulls back to the racing line. Pacina's going to have a look up the inside, makes the entry so tight and narrow. Has to pretty much stop the car, but he's got up the inside and got past Gary Leach. That's a great move from the Ford Mustang driver.
Yep, it was, and now Fuchs is on the back of Gary, and while they're battling, Coyne's coming into this as well.
Gary's
wide, that'd be a track limit.
Yeah,
That would be a
100%.
track limit
And then he's gone wide again at turn 5. That's allowed Fuchs up the inside. And you're going to struggle to hold this around the outside line going into this chicane. Just touched doors a little bit. Gary's going to try and hang it around the outside. They bump doors. And Fuchs is off in the wall.
Yeah, that's a bit naughty by Gary then.
Yeah, it's too tight to chicane for me. The blame does lie at Gary Leach there. That one was a little naughty. I'm sure that one will be going into the steward's room for us to take a look at. Now that's put insert coin on the back of Gary Leach. And that's allowed Pacina to just gap Gary a little bit as well.
Yeah, meanwhile, Eckholt's in a comfortable zone. Cloudon's in a comfortable zone.
Yeah, as is Beasley, as is Dan, as is Mike Matthews.
Pacina's still got Gary and Coyne for company. Stein's in a bit of no man's land now. Fuchs, we just saw, got sent to the Shadow Realm. That's not an overtaking spot, really, in that chicane when you're in a GT car. We ain't even one in a Formula car, really. Kay and Gray are having a good ding dong. Still, they're still battling, and Ben's 11 seconds off this with possible wheel issues. Oh, Fuchs has just returned to pits, so that's all.
That's possibly damaged, but yeah, that's all the Effect Motorsport stable in the pits. Fuchs may come back out on track though.
This we'll find out in about 2 minutes' time, so he does come back out. Meanwhile, 3 seconds to the lead. Gary is back on the back of Pacina and dropped Coyne by a little bit. But this is where the Porsche's good, because it's a grip machine again, but that's why that might be a track limit warning.
Let's just go through a quick run through of the race at the moment. It is Michael Eckholt from Jamal Clouden, Richard Beasley from Dan Davis, Mike Matthews from Pacina with Gary Leach, insert Coyne, Stein, then Overtaker, Ian Gray, Travis King, Ben, then Fuchs, who's returned to pit lane, Cruiser looks like retirement, and Dennis Newman. That is probably definitely a retirement. Back to Pacina, Gary Leach battle, because like Chris says in the chat, this has been a great battle in this race so far.
It has. It's been the closest battle on the grid.
And it's been happening for quite the time in this race.
Well, yeah, it was Stein's in shot. It was between Stein, Pacina, and Coyne before the pit stops. And now it's Gary, because they've got probably a bit more point base over the 911. 992, it's not a 911 technically anymore, is it? It's a Beetle.
Well, down to turn 2, Pacina pulling away from Gary, insert Coyne just losing out in the straights here.
Yeah, that Mustang saw so much grunt. If only we had any more grunty circuits. Zolder it might be okay, the Mustang.
Yeah, Zolder it might not be too bad. See what it does at Watkins Glen. Valencia, sorry, but yeah.
Zandvoort, nah, it's like this. It's just...
It's too tight, twisty. It's not going to be a track for the Mustang at all.
No. But that's Zandvoort's the penultimate round, isn't it? Before Valencia.
It is, yeah. No, I think Zolder is.
Watkins next week.
No, you're right. Yeah, no, Zolder's the penultimate round. Watkins, Zandvoort, then Zolder, then Valencia. So that is the calendar. Currently watching Gary Leach just try and get back onto the rear of Pacina. Not close enough at the minute. Taker still not close enough either. Fuchs and, well, the 3 Effect Motorsport car still in the pits. Closest fight is that of Pacina and Gary needs to get close enough. But when it gets this straight, that's where he's really losing out.
Yeah, meanwhile, back in the Legion of Doom. That's a tag team from my past in wrestling, and King and Gray are still really close. Oh, King just caught the curve and it will nearly split the car into the wall. That's my phone on the floor. Well done. No, I thought we lost someone then, but we haven't.
No, I don't think we have. Everybody's still there. The 3 still in the pit lane. Piano, I'm just going to have to step away to the toilet momentarily, and hopefully we'll return back in a second.
Well, it's now the phase where you can't see what I can see, while Matt's kind of stepped away briefly to take care of something. But I am... well, I've got the... Pacina seems to have gapped Gary now. Coming through this phase of the circuit. I'm just looking wherever this is the closest battle between all of these drivers. So, and King and Gray. Oh, King's all over the... He's having a look around the outside into the chicane. That's not going to work, because the racing line would put Gray into your car if not. The bottom drivers do go to Pro-Am, and the top drivers from Pro-Am do go up to Pro. Yes, that is exactly how it works in for promotion and demotion. So currently people like Max Mulder and Tim from Pro-Am will be up into Pro next season. Cracking battle between these 2 McLarens, which Matt did flick to, and oh, that's wide, you're on the marbles, that won't turn in properly. 15 seconds between Stein and Overtaker. Overtaker's not really made any more inroads into that. Ben is catching these 2 though. It's now within 6 seconds. As they come to the line. Meanwhile, the Stein is within 6/10 of coin for P9 and 10. He is, well, not 9 and 10, 8 and 9. Hashtag I can't count, and that is actually true, I can't count. You can hear the roar of the Porsche as Daddy puts his foot down anywhere on the circuit. Oh, 4.5 seconds now. Ben touching the back of King and Gray. There's now 1.5 seconds between Pacina and Leach. Stein's on the back of Coyne. Let's see how Ferrari picks up to go down the start finish straight. Amazed no one's had to drive through this in this second race yet for track limits. In Pro-Am last night we had at least 3, I think, for track limits. Ben's now within 4 seconds of King and Gray. As Taker. Beasley's had a quiet quiet night tonight in third place. He's about 5 seconds in front of Dan, 12 behind Clouden, 7 behind Clouden, or so I can't count.
Oh,
So
I apologise,
really,
I'm sorry.
Oh, as Matt is now back, the other ones are a very important call.
No, yeah, I may disappear again. Just decided to have a little dodgy moment with my stomach into the toilet. So yeah, we was watching the Ben and King fight, the King and Grey fight. We're now back on the Stein and insert coin fight.
Ben is catching the Grey and King fight.
He is. He is indeed.
Wish I was that quick at his age. I'm not Travis Smack. I'll never be that quick. As Clouden's what was relieved that down to under 2 seconds. So what's happened to Echo?
Not quite sure.
That looks less than 2 seconds.
It does look less than 2 seconds. It's a second. Well, it's 1.4 seconds. We're currently just watching Stein on the back of insert coin coming down the start straight. And this is going to be an interesting one to see what happens in here into turn 1. Stein looking up the inside and just dive bombs into the side of insert coin, and around goes Stein. Well, day late, dollar short again there for Stein. That's put him on the grass. That's going to put Overtaker on the back of him.
Return to pits.
He has. So that could be a retirement in this race with 10 minutes to go. That would be enough to score points. But it will also be a retirement and a potential qualifying ban.
It would be, yeah. So now the closest... He's angry, lol. He's like Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. So, meanwhile, this battle between Grey and King, Grey is the closest battle now on the circuit, with the Senna livery McLaren hunting them down by Ben. Brilliant. How Gray is doing some brilliant defensive driving.
Yeah, he's not repaired that damage, has he? Neither, Gray. So he's doing a marvellous job in this one.
This inside for the chicane.
Chris, random question: at the end of the season, do the bottom drivers go to Pro-Am and the top Pro-Am drivers come up to Pro? Yep, that's exactly how it works. If there's drivers dropped out throughout the season, though, we will sort of take a look and see. It depends on the sign-ups as well for next season, Chris. So that is what will happen. But with Kevin Stein, I mean, his best bet's to come out on the track. If he comes out on the track the minute the damage is repaired, well, he won't face a qualifying ban next week. But at the minute, the bottom 3 drivers will all face a qualifying ban and will all face 0 points.
Oh! King's just got his elbows out and pushed Gray right out of the way. Coming into the penultimate corner. That was very...
Oh, that's a tap. That's Gray who's tapped him round.
Yeah, and Ben saying thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and I think King's just flashed him to let him go. I don't know if what that kind of flash out was, but Ben's going to take full advantage of that. Gary's back within a second of Pacina now.
Maybe Gary's let his tyres cool a bit. Cause
yeah, possibly so. Possibly so.
She's a big girl, so she's got to produce a hell of a lot of dirty air. Just like the Bentley. And the Bentley, see them curbs? What curbs? Wasn't it? I miss the Bentley. Have a NAM sprint series, everything.
Right then, watching Gary Leach, 9/10 off the back of Pacina. This is the closest fight on track. The running order is Michael Eckholt from Jamal Clouden, Richard Beasley from Dan Davis with Mike Matthews, P5, Pacina 6th from Gary Leach, insert coin 8th, Overtaker's now 9th due to that retirement of Kevin Stein with fastest lap. Ben is 10th from Travis King and Ian Gray rounding out the back. Stein, Fuchs, Cruiser and Newman all have retired from this race. And Pacina had a problem because Gary's all of a sudden within 3 tenths, not now down the start straight.
No, all of a sudden down the start straight by Mustang. Or is he? Is could the Mustang be drinking its fuel? more
Yeah,
than the
possibly.
Porsche?
It's an interesting one to look at. Ben waved as he went past, says Chris there. That's brilliant. Jamal's within 7/10 of Eccles.
Yeah.
And we saw that Jamal was on the back of Eccles towards the end of Eccles' stint, to be fair, at the first time round. So, going to be an interesting one.
It is going to be interesting. Will Clouden go for a win?
Yeah, possibly. So let's wait and see. Clouden will take more points off of Dan. Gary's within 4/10 coming through the chicane.
King's just lost the rear again in the final corner. I just saw the car go absolutely.
Yeah, possible
broadside.
damage on that car. They're letting Richard Beasley through. Clouden's right on the back of thingy now. Of Echo. Apologies. So this is going to be an interesting one.
It is, and it's, well, other than Leach within 2/10 of Pacino now as well. He's looking this way and that way, trying to get past that massive Mustang. Pacino defending the inside line, but because he knows he's going to have the grunt, he had to tap the brakes again and through the final corner did Pacino to control the rear end. But now the horsepower just kicks in. Gary slips back into the slipstream. Does Gary pull out up into the braking zone to go past? No, thinks better of it.
Right, let's get a drive for the day poll up there, shall we? I'm still impressed with Overtaker having fastest lap with the damage he sustained. Yeah, he got the fastest lap, didn't he, with that the damage he sustained early on. So did really well.
5/10 of a lead.
Clouden's still there.
Clouden won't push his way through either. He'll bide his time. But with less than 5 minutes, you're running out of time.
Yeah, you are. Right, drive of the day goes up. Clouden's got to make a move. Gary's still within half a second. Let's drop back to a second. He's dropped back a little bit more, it looks like. So has Clouden. He's dropped back a little bit.
And here come the Porsche versus Ford. But Coin's not in this anymore. He's nearly 5 seconds behind this battle.
Yeah, Coin's not really in that fight with Gary at the moment. He's got to worry about maybe not letting Taker catch him as quick as he can. There's still the battle for the lead. 7/10. That's gone up to the closest fight now on the circuit. Dan said all week in testing, and he said it last night, Lamborghini not the strongest around here. I'm sure him and Mike would absolutely bite your hand off at a 4th and 5th in this second race.
Yeah, definitely. Be interesting to see what these cars perform at Watkins Glen next week, because a lot of these drivers probably never raced there unless he did project cars too.
Exactly. It is going to be an interesting one for sure.
I love Watkins Glen because it's a very old style circuit. Yeah, flowing, apart from the bus stop chicane they have.
So Stein did that 50%, didn't he? So he will still score points 75. For that. That 75%. He will still score points for that 13th place. The other guys, obviously DNFs for the 3 of them towards their name. Yeah. And I believe that's Dennis Newman's 3rd retirement, losing him 25 points in this championship, where Pacino will go above him in the standings and pull away because of the points he's going to score here and the points that Newman's going to lose as well for Effect Motorsport. That's not going to do much with BSP of Tibbs not being here, but it stops him getting on the back of GK Racing by scoring points as well. So GK Racing is going to be able to pull further away there.
They're down by one driver at the moment because
Nikita's having issues. Yeah, so look, that is what it is. Dennis Newman's been here long enough to know the rules.
Yeah. Oh, Gary's back over a second behind Pacino now, so that possibly now done. Dan's lapped King. Within the second full lead. Do we know what will happen to Newman? No.
Retired. Not sure what happened to Newman. Retired. That'll be his third retirement. First one for Fuchs and for Cruiser and for Stein. So, hey, no points for them. Stein gets points for 75%, but it'll still be a qualifying ban. That's 4 drivers. So if you have 16 drivers, you're only going to get the 12 qualifying next week. You know, drivers need to think of that. Eckholt's gapped Jamal Cloud, and that's back up to 9/10. Mike is 21 seconds off his teammate, who's 6 seconds off Beasley. Beasley's had a quiet night. I'm not sure what happened to him to make his own mistake in race 1.
No, but we're going to have to go to Discord for the podium.
Yeah, well, no, I am. Are you happy to do the podiums? I am not feeling great at the minute and may shoot off again in a second. So, I'm going to leave the podiums tonight, PN, because I have took a funny turn and I really do not feel too well. So we will leave the podiums. Apologies to the viewers at home that may have wanted to hear the leaders speak, but yeah, I don't feel great. And I may be rushing off at the end of this race. So this is the Eckholt fight. Final lap of the race for him. Cloudens within 9/10. Eckholt's just got to keep it together, Phil, to make sure he gets to the end of this one.
He has. It's been a... Well, what a week for the Dane train. For Eckholt. He's for SimPlay. And this is going to be this will be 3 wins on the bounce and 4 wins in his last 5 races. So he's got to get there though, because Cloudens just took 3/10 out of him in the first sector. He has, but I think Eckholt's got this under control, don't you? Really? Yeah, I do. Gary's back within 9/10 of a second of Pacina. Cloudens right up that rear wing now. You know, he might fancy a look late on in this race. Wouldn't you? Really?
You'd want to do it cleanly at the end of the day. You know, if he gets a 10-second penalty, you know, you're going to drop to that 3rd place, and that's points you're going to lose over Dan. Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much. Catching easy, passing's another. The late great Murray Walker said that. Mazda. Cloudens setting him up maybe for a dive up the inside at the final corner. He's got right with him. But either way, Eckholt comes through the penultimate. And Clouden hasn't got a response to him at the moment. And I think Eckholt has done enough now. He's going to come round and take that race win. It's going to be 3 wins on a bounce for Michael Eckholt. Jamal Clouden gets the line for P2. Good night for Richard Beasley. It's going to be a comfortable P3. Dan Davis, no podium in 3 races. That's not going to affect him. Richard Beasley takes 3rd. Dan Davis is going to come home for that P4. That is not going to affect Dan Davis whatsoever. P4 for him.
Was really slow.
Mike Matthews. Sorry, Pian, go on.
Pacina seems to be really slow. Gary's all over the back of him.
We'll jump to that one in a moment. As Mike Matthews is going to come across for P5 then. King and Ian Gray have already finished. So Mike Matthews, P5, good result for Mike. What has been a tricky season. And Gary, like Pian's just said, all over the back. In fact, did he just tap the back of Pacina there? Gary's going to try and go a long way round. Is he going to try and tuck back underneath? He's going to try it. I don't think he's got the legs. Gary's going to come home for P7. Fought hard with Pacina all race. That's a great fight between them two. Pacina comes home to take P6. Naval Insert Coin will come home to take P7, P8. And then Overtaker, somehow with the fastest lap when he had the damaged car, unless he's improved it since then and we haven't seen it, he's going to come across for P9, but he will be under investigation for the retaliation. That'll be one to sort out. And here comes Ben, who's going to come across the line for P10. So we lost 4 drivers in that race. 1 scored points, the others did not. But like we say, we do apologise of not being able to do the interviews. We are going to leave it there when we get the results. That then is your finale. PN, good night's worth of racing here at the Hungaroring. Michael Eckholt is going to take the driver of the day from the audience. Final thoughts on your driver of the day?
Well, the driver of the day is Eckholt. He's been pretty flawless today. So, great drive. Managed both races. He was in control even with Clouden within 3/10 of a second, wasn't he? Yeah. Be interested when we go to Watkins Glen next week. Yeah. Remember, tune in on Tuesday for GT4s with Dan Davis being commentary. Wednesdays for Dan for Pro-Am with Dan and Matt. and myself and Matt will be back for Pro next Thursday.
Indeed,
as
we will.
Have a final four race meetings.
Yeah, the final 4 race meetings of the season. It's going to be an interesting back half of the season. I am just taking a look at the drop scores as we speak, but I believe everybody's points. In fact, now Dan gains 2 extra points because tonight is his drop score. That's fine, that's fine. That one's fine, that one's fine. That one's fine. That one's fine. That one's fine. 34, that one's fine. And then drop score tonight is Cruiser. He'll go to 12. Obviously joining in the other week. Right, so we can bring you the quick championship standings. And Dan Davis's lead, well, would have been cut to 84 points, but because that was his drop score, he only gains 2 because of that drop score. So Dan Davis's drop score now, championship lead, sorry, is 86 points from Cloud. And Overtaker stays third ahead of Harris and RB. Gary Leach stays P6 with Michael Eckhout moving up into 7th. Insert Coin P8 ahead of Mike Matthews, who goes out to Sky Shundermeyer 9th. Ian Gray 11th from Tobias Hoffer. Ben up to 13th with Nikita 14th, sorry. Then it is Pacina and Newman. Newman obviously under investigation, potentially looking at that minus 25 points deduction. Then it is Fuchs and Burton. Flem Speed 1 with Joe Bates behind them. O'Reilly from Saber, Kyle King, Ramey, Mitrovican and Stein Klarbel, Cruiser, Simon Sullivan, Zandberger and Joseph. And in the Constructors' Championship, 82 points is the gap. SimPlay Racing extend over Team FBR. Quantum Apex P3 with Greasy Bandits Racing P4. Jaeger Motorsport P5. GK Racing P6 with Effect Motorsport P7. BSP Independent P8. Effect Motorsport 2 P9. FSO Independent P10 from Vorta Racing P12 Independent. And P13 for Smoky Racing Independent. I'm going to give my driver of the day as well to Michael Eckhout. Flawless night. He takes the clean sweep of driver of the day. Like PN said, join us next week, Tuesday 8 PM GMT +1 for the GT4s live with Dan Davis. Wednesday night is myself and Dan Davis live on Wednesday 8 PM GMT +1, and myself Phil back same time next Thursday evening. If you hit that bell to be notified so you know when we are live, hit the thumbs up button as well if you like what we see, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as well as check out our amazing sponsors Audio Sport and Zan Manchester in the description. And if you want to be a part of SimPlay Motorsport, make sure you join the Discord. But for me and Phil tonight, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
For me and Phil tonight, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, we're clear. Oh, I have took a funny turn.